third time the Demons this year have lost in OT and make that 39 straight losses in the Big East. Bears continue their head coaching search, team interviewing former Stanford headman David Shaw yesterday. 5:08 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder says the cover-up has happened for years.
Big, long article in the Wall Street Journal and in the New York Times. You can eliminate the Wall Street Journal, but you can't eliminate the New York Times if you're on the left. All saying the same thing. From day one, his staffers covered up for him. As we were told, anybody that raises questions about Biden's declining mental abilities is engaging in right-wing conspiracy theories.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Sean Thompson. When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have somebody else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and healthcare, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855 or online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's 5:11. Let's get an update on the roads this morning. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of Rapid Radio's Push to Talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com. You'll get an extra 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio for an extra 5% off. Stevenson inbound. You've got a bad accident on the on-ramp from Damon Avenue. I-80 stop-and-go traffic westbound at the Des Plaines River Bridge with a disabled vehicle in a right lane. Carroll Stream, County Farm Road, completely shut down. Southbound between St. Charles and Hickory. Crews are still clearing a crash there involving 3 vehicles. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Cold day today, sunny to partly cloudy with the high at 21. Clouds and flurries around from late evening on tonight. Low 18, temperatures rising into the 20s for the overnight. Clouds breezy, not as cold tomorrow, the high at 35. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
7 at O'Hare, 7 Midway, 1 below in Aurora, 2 below in Joliet, 7 above in Waukegan, and even 0 in Kankakee and Romeoville, and 10 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answers starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Hello, Patriots. It's time to celebrate McHenry County. Join We the People of McHenry County on Monday, January 20th for an evening celebration of the inauguration of number 47, President Donald Trump. This is a great opportunity to have fun and celebrate with your McHenry County friends and neighbors. The special guest host will be Gene Ives, host of the radio show The Real Story on AM 560 and founder of Breakthrough Ideas. People will gather at Galati's Hideaway Restaurant in Cary, Illinois. Tickets will only be sold in advance for $30 per person. Dinner is included and a cash bar is available. Don't wait. Seating is limited. Tickets will sell out quickly. Celebrate, connect, and stand with we the people of McHenry County for a brighter future. McHenry County and the state of Illinois are worth fighting for. Galati's Hideaway Restaurant in Cary, Illinois. Doors open at 6 p.m. Tickets on sale now and only sold in advance at 2025win.net. That's 2025win.net. Sponsored by the Algonquin Township Republican Party.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements. Changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time in the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Did the Protestant Reformation suffer a premature death? Absolutely, argues the riveting book, Reviving the Reformation by Dr. Daniel Lang. The book of Acts chapter 21 verse 20 reports that myriads or tens of thousands of Jewish believers dwelled in Jerusalem, and they were all zealous for the Torah. Their leaders were guiding the early Messianic faith. 40 years after the death of Jesus, however, the Jews revolted against Rome. This rebellion caused a Roman hammer to crush Israel, destroying the temple and Jerusalem. Following this devastation, the leadership of the Jerusalem church fell into other hands. Reviving the Reformation recovers the lost first-century Messianic faith. It answers the most difficult questions that some dare not ask about traditional Christianity. Buy Reviving the Reformation on Amazon. For a deep discount, purchase the book securely from the author at revivingthereformation.com. That's revivingthereformation.com. And like Reviving the Reformation on Facebook. With biblical faith fading fast in Western culture, now is the time to restore the truth by reviving the Reformation.
Have you seen what's been happening in the stock market lately? The market has had some rough days. And if you think those numbers don't mean anything to you and your retirement plan, think again. Can you afford to lose a big chunk of your retirement savings in a single day at this stage of your life? If you want to make sure you aren't taking on more risk than you're comfortable with, call the team at Scott Tucker Solutions now. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. Make sure you're prepared for whatever happens in the market, and if you already have a retirement plan, let's take a look to make sure you're properly diversified. Call Scott Tucker Solutions today to help make sure more bad days in the market don't disrupt your retirement plans. 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. That's 847-474-3888 or go to 560retirement.com. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
When I hear realtors boast about servicing a 3-county area or selling a home every 15 minutes, I think, what level of service could their clients possibly be getting? This is Chris Jacobs with Century 21 affiliated in Inverness, and my message is a little bit different. If being a realtor for more than 20 years has taught me one thing, it's that all real estate is local. While I can't say I'm the #1 realtor in the country, I can tell you that over the past 10 years, I've sold more homes in Inverness than anyone else. My team specializes in Inverness, Palatine, and Arlington Heights. We pride ourselves on providing our clients exceptional customer service and local market knowledge. So if you're selling your home or looking to purchase a property in our area, then call me, Chris Jacobs, at 847-401-4859. That's 847-401-4859. Or visit us at chrisjacobshomes.com.
Each office independently owned and operated, an equal housing opportunity.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Protecting Your Assets with Steve Shyman. Listen Saturday mornings at 8. Learn more at willsave.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Another Senate confirmation hearing, another farce. Pete Hegseth appearing before the Senate Armed Services Committee yesterday. And what did we learn? What did we learn?
312-642-5600, Turnkey Depot answer line.
We learned that confirmation hearings, and this has been the case for a long time, with perhaps the exception of when Louisiana Senator John Kennedy queries judicial nominees. That may be the one exception at present day. These confirmation hearings are just partisan rituals. By the time a nominee appears before the relevant Senate committee, all the information about that nominee, particularly if it's high profile like a cabinet post, like SecDef, all the information about that nominee, particularly the ugly information, has been deposited into the public domain. All of that information has been debated, and the American people, by and large, have come to a conclusion about that person beyond a reasonable doubt based on the information that was leaked or publicly disclosed. However it got to the public domain, it's there. So by the time you get to the politicians and the alleged advice and consent phase of the process, all it is partisan ritual. It is both sides, frankly, for the most part, reciting the scripts that have been cobbled together by 30-year-old staffers, plagiarizing the favorite vaudeville acts on their preferred cable news channel, and that's what you got yesterday. The Republicans do the sort of "why are you so great" softball questions. You know, what's your strongest quality? Tell us about your military service. And the Dem Socialists do just what you would expect them to do, is re-raise all of the issues that have been debated, all of the attacks that have been lodged by their comm shop, the D.C. Press Corps. And so that's what you saw happen with Pete Hegseth yesterday, is it not? When they weren't engaged in their contrived performances, Hegseth did offer some general explanations of where he's coming from. He offered his sort of philosophy on bureaucracy.
We won World War II with 7 4-star generals. Today we have 44 4-star generals. There's an inverse relationship between the size of staffs and victory on the battlefield. We don't need more bureaucracy at the top. We need more warfighters empowered at the bottom. So it's going to be my job, working with those that we hire and those inside the administration, to identify those places where fat can be cut so it can go toward lethality.
That's good disposition. I like that. The other one specific thing he said would happen under his watch, and this is, I assume, comports with the position of President Trump, those men and women exiled from the armed services because they refused to take the jab.
We haven't even talked about COVID and the tens of thousands of service members who were kicked out because of an experimental vaccine. In President Trump's Defense Department, they will be apologized to. They will be reinstituted with pay and rank.
There's some COVID reckoning. That was encouraging to hear.
I love that.
That he said it so forcefully. There was no equivocation there.
And I love that he's not beholden to any big defense contractors. And he spoke about returning the warrior, the strong fighter. Get rid of this DEI. It is not a priority.
I'm going to work with President Trump and this committee to, 1, restore the warrior ethos to the Pentagon and throughout our fighting force. What gender you are, what race you are, your views on climate change, or whether you are a person of conscience and your faith should have no bearing on whether you get promoted. The only thing that should matter is How capable are you at your job? How excellent are you at your job? That it's time to give someone with dust on his boots the helm. A change agent, someone with no vested interest in certain companies or specific programs or approved narratives. My only special interest is the warfighter.
Okay, fair enough. Let's vote our shares.
Okay.
Let's just be done with it. Joni Ernst talking to a local radio talk show host in Iowa. Simon Conway, I think, is his name. She's on board. This thing's over.
And so he was adequately able to answer all of my questions. He pointed out the woke issues at the Pentagon. And I think we're at a point where now we can start moving forward. People know where he stands on these issues.
Yep.
So I felt it was a good hearing.
I thought it was a good hearing for him. Does he have your vote?
I am breaking news, Simon. I figured you would ask this. So, yes, I will be supporting President Trump's pick for Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth.
There you go.
Is that an Aussie or a Brit? What is going on in Iowa? Yeah. Because it's taking good Iowan jobs on the radio.
Well, we do get, a lot of Australian punters and kickers at Iowa, so I don't know what that's all about. But
So-
good for her. So it's over. You're right. We have Joni Ernst. It's good.
It was over before it started.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now that we've sort of established what this is and what it is not, and what a rote exercise this has become, well, now we can have fun with
Oh, yeah.
how the left behaved, those leftist senators behaved yesterday. Marvin in Burlington, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I just have a little. I disagree with you a little bit. I enjoy them because it really shows not so much the appointees, but it shows a lot about the senators who are asking the questions. It reveals them for who they are, what their intelligence level is, and what they're and how low they will go. So I find them really revealing in that respect. So I hope they continue on with them. And with the questioners, the senators that ask questions without any logic or reason behind them, I ask myself, how do their constituents keep voting these people in? No matter how much money they have behind them, people still have to go in and vote for them. So it's really, if someone could answer that question, I think boy, I tell you, people with some logic and reason would be do far better in the election.
Thanks for the call, Marvin. Well,
where should we start?
In terms of the entertainment value, no, I agree with that. It's entertaining, but let's just understand what it is. It is nothing resembling what the founders envisioned in terms of the Senate being a deliberative body, the Senate's important role to advise and consent on presidential nominees. It has nothing to do with it. This has about as much relationship to what the founders envisioned, what you saw yesterday, as a Schoolhouse Rock video, how a bill becomes a law, has to how an idea actually becomes a law in the real world. I mean, there is just no connection. And so I just want to, in a sense, it's rather discouraging. It's entertaining.
It was very entertaining,
but
it's
discouraging.
For hours. My favorite part too. First of all, how is Tim Kaine morphed into Tim Walz? Don't they look like twins?
Tim Kaine sort of has like a Thomas Dolby, She Blinded Me with Science lid going on there. I don't know. And I think Kaine and Kirsten Gillibrand have the same stylist.
What happened to my sorority sister? Dear Lord.
She is
She's
aging
taking a
like
turn.
She's aging like cheese.
Well, maybe, I don't know. That's when I saw her yesterday, like, oh my God.
Yeah.
There's
It's
an app
frightful.
for that.
Well, Tim Kaine, to get to the entertainment portion of the program, Tim Kaine started it, a bit of an uncomfortable moment, people probably squirming in their seats at home when he went after Hegseth for alleged infidelity.
Completely cleared. Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared? How is that a complete clear?
Senator, her child's name is Gwendolyn Hope Hegseth, and she's a child of God, and she's 7 years old.
And she was, and you cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
Oh, my God.
Those were false charges.
Well,
It was fully investigated, and I was completely cleared. And
Oh, but Dan, you have to love the "Did you beat your wife?" question, because that's what he asked too about, to Pete.
Did you ever engage in any acts
Oh, no,
of
this is
physical
Adam
violence against
Kinzinger,
any
I'm
of your
sorry.
wives?
Senator, absolutely not.
But you would agree with me that if someone had committed physical violence against a spouse, that would be disqualifying to serve as Secretary of Defense, correct?
Senator, absolutely not have I ever done that.
I just love the "Did you beat your wife?" question. Yeah.
That's more the question is, when did you stop beating your wife? It's like there's no
thank you,
answer.
Dan.
Yeah,
Right,
that's the well,
Excuse me.
and Tim Kaine, the paragon of moral virtue, the conscience of the Senate, the suburban dad on the down low, my supposition, Tim Kaine, Hillary Clinton's running mate. What did you think of Bill? This is Tim Kaine 6 months ago.
Okay.
With Doug Emhoff opening up the office in Virginia.
Hey, folks. Tim Kaine here.
Oh, my God.
Second gentleman, Doug Emhoff here.
We are in Annandale, Virginia, where the Biden-Harris campaign just opened the first coordinated campaign office in Virginia.
And we are going to, win this election. Senator Kaine is going to go back to the Senate, and we're all going to do this thing together.
Yeah, and then Doug went on to say, we're going to beat Trump like I beat my ex-girlfriend. Tim Kaine had no problem with Dogg's infidelities, no problem with Dogg's alleged abuse of a former girlfriend. We didn't get much discussion of that during the campaign, but now he is very puritanical when it comes to Pete Hegseth. And this is the point that Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin picked up on after having to endure both Tim Kaine and, before we get to him, Krakajawiya as well, the good senator from Massachusetts, took a run at Hegseth.
In other words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years. But you're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
You'll be the one, let us just be clear, in charge of the generals.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she's
nice try.
Yeah.
So Markwayne Mullin had enough of listening to these rank hypocrites and offered this.
Of the Secretary of Defense is, because I Googled it, and went through a lot of different sites, and really it's hard to see, but in general, the U.S. Secretary of Defense position is filled by a civilian. That's it. If you have served in the U.S. Army Forces and have been in the service for, you have to be retired for at least 7 years, and Congress can weigh that. And then there's questions that the senator from Massachusetts brought up about serving on a board inside the military industry, and yet your own secretary that you all voted for, Secretary of Austin, we had to vote on a waiver because he stepped off the board of Raytheon. But I guess that's okay because that's a Democrat Secretary of Defense. But you so quickly forget about that. And then Senator Kaine, or I guess I better use the senator from Virginia, starts bringing up the fact that what if you showed up drunk to your job? How many senators have showed up drunk to vote at night? Have any of you guys asked them to step down and resign from their job? And don't tell me you haven't seen it, because I know you have. And then how many senators do you know have got a divorce before cheating on their wives? Did you ask them to step down? No. But it's for show. You guys make sure you make a big show and point out the hypocrisy because the man's made a mistake. And you want to sit there and say that he's not qualified? Give me a joke. I mean, it is so ridiculous that you guys hold yourself as this higher standard and you forget you got a big plank in your eye.
Coming up at 5:38, we'll have a little bit more on the Hegseth confirmation hearing, because the ranking member on the Armed Services Committee, the good senator from Rhode Island, Jack Reed, wants to know what a jagoff is, and Pete Hegseth had to explain it to him. 5:38.
And later, poor Comer, he's stuck in the middle again of a congressional cat fight. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
It's 5:33, 6 degrees above, wind chills in the negative digits. And Russia's military retaliating against Ukraine after Kyiv attacked Russia regions by firing U.S.-made ATACMS ballistic missiles and 6 UK-made Storm Shadow cruise missiles, and then launching a big drone attack, one of the largest to date. Ukraine striking deep into Russia, targeting oil, chemical, and ammo plants before Russia retaliated. South Korea's impeached President Yoon has been detained in a major law enforcement operation at the presidential compound there. Yoon contends the agency doesn't have the authority to investigate his previous declaration of martial law. South African authorities say they pulled 36 bodies and over 80 survivors from a gold mine over the past 2 days. Hundreds more are still trapped underground, along with dozens of bodies. The death toll from the L.A. wildfires has risen to 25, and another 16 deaths have been linked to the Eaton fire burning around Altadena. President Biden gives his farewell address to the nation in prime time tonight, just days before leaving the White House. Confirmation hearings continue on Capitol Hill today. Senators questioning more of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks. First up, Pam Bondi, Trump's pick for AG and former Attorney General of Florida. Bondi defended Trump during his first impeachment. Another Florida politician, Senator Marco Rubio, is up for Secretary of State. Cuba expert Dr. Andy Gomez expects Rubio to sail through.
Marco understands very well that negotiating with the Cuban government is not going to get you anywhere. We saw it during the Obama years.
Rubio has been in the Senate since 2010. Michael Madigan finished testifying in his racketeering trial. The Chicago Democrat and co-defendant Michael McLean faced charges accusing them of conspiring to participate in an array of bribery and extortion schemes. It's a new era for the Chicago School Board. Its first elected school board will be officially seated. Joining political appointees on the board, all allies of Mayor Brandon Johnson. Out of 21 members, 11 are appointed by the mayor, 10 are elected. Also, a Chicago alderman is proposing a law change that would give the city council more of a say in the mayor's appointments to the city's Board of Ed. Bill Conway says he'll introduce legislation that would give the city council oversight over the mayor's appointments, just like it does for other agencies like the CTA in the Park District. At City Hall today as well, aldermen will likely vote on whether to let police work with federal agents when undocumented immigrants are arrested for certain crimes, including drug charges, prostitution, and loitering. Meantime, the president of the Chicago Teachers Union is trying to apologize after being accused of comparing CPS CEO Pedro Martinez to a special education student.
I am extraordinarily embarrassed. It does not reflect my values or my body of work. I am deeply sorry for it, and I am going to be in a process speaking to the advocates, families, students, our members about how to repair the harm.
Davis Gates reportedly made the comment last week during a members-only meeting with CTU delegates. Chicago sports. Well, the Bulls fall apart in the fourth quarter and lost to one of the worst teams in the NBA last night, losing to New Orleans 119-113. College hoops, the Fighting Illini blow out Indiana at Assembly Hall 94-69. Port of Paul, they nearly tripped up the number 7 team in the country, falling to Marquette in overtime 85-83. That's the third overtime loss for the Demons and 39 straight losses in the Big East. 5:37 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from Big Wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250. You say the keyword save now. Save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but your finances too. Your personal info is in so many places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back, and resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Rick Borick, host of Unleash Your Wealth, talks about the importance of tax planning in retirement.
A qualified financial planner can take you through all the steps to show you every single legal way you can use to reduce and minimize your state income taxes across the board, so that, again, you keep more of your money and your family keeps more of your money.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and our new time at 2 p.m. here on AM 560, The Answer.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm 76. I had been retired for about 10 years, and at 68, I decided to go back to work. Our company had a contest, and it was a walking, steps. I ended up, by the time it's the end of the 6 weeks, I was doing like 17,000 steps a day. So after the contest, I came in third. I kept hearing about Balance of Nature, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. So I did.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel. Financial advisors, let's face it, if you're not growing your practice, you're losing market share. Stifel is a growing, entrepreneurial, advisor-centric firm built for successful advisors like you. There's a reason why 148 financial advisors joined Stifel last year. Come join us and find out why Stifel is the firm where success meets success. Visit www.choosestifel.com.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
541, let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Turnkey.pro. Start the new year right with Turnkey's all-in package. Unlimited help desk support, firewall router, unlimited backup and recovery, and antivirus protection, plus new hardware for one low monthly investment. Visit Turnkey.pro, that's Turnkey.pro. Stevenson, inbound, the on-ramp from First Avenue has an accident this morning. In Volo, report of an accident, Belvedere and Volo Village Road, and an accident being cleaned up in Skokie Gulf and Harms Road. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Sunny and cold today, high 21. Cloudy, flurries, maybe a half inch overnight with rising temperatures and a low of 18. 6 and clear at O'Hare, 6 at Midway, 4 below in Aurora, 3 below in Joliet, 5 below in Kankakee with a wind chill that could dip down around minus 16. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy talking about Pete Hex's confirmation hearing before the Senate Armed Services Committee yesterday, and the histrionics on display from Democrat socialist senators, particularly these shrill, shrieking female socialists, like our very own Tammy Duckworth. You know, it's unfortunate because the Duckworth name is such a great name in Illinois history, and she's ruining it. You know what I'm referring to, maybe?
I'm sorry.
But you're
going to tell me.
The great Kevin Duckworth.
Oh.
Do you remember Kevin Duckworth?
Kevin Duckworth. That sounds so familiar.
He was a Thornridge standout, Thornridge High School. Then he went on to play at Eastern Illinois, and you may remember him from the Portland Trail Blazers when they played the Bulls in the final, the team with Clyde Drexler and Jerome Kersey. Kevin Duckworth, back when the NBA was actual basketball.
And it was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I hear Duckworth, I think Kevin Duckworth because he's an Illinois great, a great athlete, and then I have to talk about Tammy Duckworth. It's such a disappointment. Tammy Duckworth
she was firing
is
on all cylinders yesterday.
She wants a short answer, and she wants it now.
Ow. Have you led an audit of any organization? Yes or no? I don't want a long answer. Yes or no? Have you led an audit of any organization of which you were in charge?
Senator, in both of the organizations I ran, we were always completely fiscally responsible.
Yes or no, did you lead an audit?
And the way
yes
my
or no,
leadership
did you lead an audit? Yes or no? What are you afraid of? You can't answer this question. Yes or no, did you lead an audit? Do you not know this answer?
Senator, every part of my leadership of these organizations has been misrepresented.
I will take that as a no. What were the findings? So there were no findings because you've never led an audit. What guidance did you give the auditors? None, because you've never led an audit. Nobody expects you to be an accountant, Mr. Hexeth. What we expect is for you to understand the complexity of this Pentagon budget process that is absolutely necessary to outfit our war fighters.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's really wonderful to see Tammy Duckworth so passionate about Pentagon audits because, interestingly, I haven't seen her exhibit such concern about auditing the Pentagon over the last 7 years as the Pentagon has failed their annual audits year after year after year after year after year after year after year.
Why didn't he turn it on her and say, well, why can't the Pentagon pass an audit?
Well, yeah, but again, I mean, and the whole idea here that the people questioning Pete Hegseth have any particular expertise or knowledge about the Pentagon or much of the rest of government, which is sort of the point that Roger Wicker, the chairman of the committee, Republican from Mississippi, made after Gary Peters, who's a socialist from Michigan, went on and on about Hegseth's lack of executive experience. So in addition to the personal peccadillos they tried to pick at, it was the executive experience, the expertise in presiding over an audit and so forth. By the way, I've presided, I'm not an accountant, I presided over audits at the municipal government level. To some extent, state government level, I've certainly reviewed them.
Well, you better tell Tammy that.
Yeah, I mean, it's with some expertise, it's not that complicated. And so it's bigger and more massive, and there are going to be more failures in an organization like the Pentagon. But, with some help from the Green Eye Shades guys, a intelligent person like Pete Hegseth can get through it and understand where the problem areas are. But anyway, Wicker, after Gary Peters does his you don't have the requisite executive experience recital.
But you have not convinced me that you're able to take on this tremendous responsibility with a complex organization and having little or no significant management experience.
Senator, I'm grateful to be hired by one of the most successful CEOs in American history, should I be confirmed.
Mr. Hegseth, it seems to me that you've supervised far more people than the average United States senator supervises typically.
It's really interesting how many times these socialist senators became punchlines during this hearing. I know they're playing up to their base, and this is what they're charged to do. but it's not to the benefit of the party's brand. I'll tell you that. Yesterday's performance.
312-6.
Not that I'm advising Democrats or I care about their brand. I'm just saying, just as a matter of fact, if you think this is helping, then you're not receiving the message that was sent in November.
But isn't that what? Yeah, right, exactly. They haven't received or processed the message that was sent in November, and they look like, comedic punching bags up there yesterday.
And no moment was more comedic.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Than when Jack Reed, the little-known senator from the little-known state of Rhode Island, but he is the ranking member on the Senate Armed Services Committee, don't you know, if you're scoring at home. And at first I had to, do a double take. Did he ask what a JAG officer is? No. He wanted to know what a JAG-off is.
Briefed by a JAG officer. Well, by the way, would you explain what a JAG-off is?
I don't think I need to, sir.
Why not?
Because the men and women watching understand.
Well, perhaps some of my colleagues don't understand.
It would be a JAG officer who puts his or her own priorities in front of the warfighters. Their promotions, their medals, in front of having the backs of those who are making the tough calls on the front lines.
Thank you, Senator Reed.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah,
Jack Reed's going to incorporate that into his vernacular when he goes back to Providence. What I would have said?
What would you have said? Oh, boy, here we go. What?
Which is why I don't think I'll ever be SecDef or before Senate confirmation hearing.
Oh, I would love to see you in front of them.
Sorry, Senator, you want to know what a JAG-off is? I'm looking at a JAG-off.
Hey-o.
How about that?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Then I drop the mic and I walk out. Done here.
And then say, audit this, biatches,
exactly.
and then leave.
Right. Bang! Jim in LaGrange, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, I think I moved to Oklahoma. Forget about Florida. Mark Wayne Mullen was outstanding yesterday, and to paraphrase, one of the questions he rhetorically asked to the other side was, I don't know what all makes you qualify to be senators, except you got a few more votes than somebody else. I thought that was outstanding. But Tammy Duckworth actually invoking the name, the state of Illinois. I was voted to represent the state of Illinois, and the people, I'm like, I didn't vote for you. And what an embarrassment. So if you could just humor me, if you could do a quick compare and contrast between a Mark Wayne Mullen, for instance, and a Tammy Duckworth, I'd like to get your opinion on that. Thanks. Have a great day.
Yeah. Well,
where do we start?
Mark Wayne Mullen and Tammy Duckworth, unfortunately, one can get elected in Illinois and one couldn't. That's I guess the only interesting comparison because everything else is so stark. I mean, obviously, as we've said before when we've discussed Tammy Duckworth, you respect her service to our country, but her as a politician is a completely separate discussion, and her as a politician is been consistently about as cringeworthy as it was yesterday when she's screaming at Pete Hegseth over audits she doesn't care about.
She doesn't care about that. Now, they did care about, what are women serving in the military, and I thought he had a solid answer.
I have never disparaged women serving in the military. I respect every single female service member that has put on the uniform past and present. My critiques, Senator, recently and in the past, and from personal experience, have been instances where I've seen standards lowered, and you mentioned 11 Alpha, 11 Bravo, MOS, places in units, and the book that has been referenced multiple times here, The War on Warriors. I spent months talking to active duty service members, men and women, low ranks, high ranks, combat arms and not combat arms, and what each and every one of them told me, and which personal instances have shown me, is that in ways direct, indirect, overt and subtle, standards have been changed.
Yeah. He's going to change that back. Good for him.
Well,
good for the country. I mean, I thought he was calm and studied and prepared, and he admitted he made mistakes, and he redeemed himself to his wife and to God, and I was more than impressed with him yesterday.
Well, you're right, and that was the contrast in demeanor. You had these screaming banshees like Duckworth and Gillibrand, and you had calm, cool, and collected Hegseth. Gillibrand
Oh boy, sorority sister.
Yeah. Well, Gillibrand picked up on the comments they are from 30 years ago that they're dredging up to try to say that he's some sort of bigot, because again they didn't get the message about identitarian politics, so they have to check the boxes and tell their coalition constituents that solidarity and marginality is still our calling card, and that's what Gillibrand did.
In the DOD, everything you've said in these public statements is politics. I don't want women. I don't want moms. What's wrong with a mom, by the way? Once you have babies, you therefore are no longer able to be lethal. I mean, you're basically saying women, after they have children, can't ever serve in the military in a combat role. It's a silly thing to say. It's a silly thing to say, beneath the position that you are aspiring to. To denigrate LGBTQ service members is a mistake. If you are a sharpshooter, you're as lethal regardless of what your gender identity is, regardless of who you love. So please know this to be a true statement. So you say it was a political thing. You say it undermined us, social engineering. I don't know why someone having to publicly say or not publicly say who they love is social engineering. I think.
So we're supposed to understand Pete Hegseth hates moms.
Right.
Okay. All right.
I mean, normally if you're a mom, I don't know if you want to serve in a combat role, but if you pass the physical exam and they don't bend the rules for women, you can do it.
What about the psych exam? Because I don't think Gillibrand could pass it. George in Naperville.
Dan, that Tammy Duckworth is a real bully with all that toxic femininity, and we do need more lesbian sharpshooters.
There's no question about that. Thanks for the call, George. When they do the remake of American Sniper, Chris Kyle will be trans.
Yeah. With pink hair.
Kip in Stillman Valley.
Yeah, real quick, guys. Good to hear you guys. I'm gonna, say with Duckworth that I'm gonna go with the way Hegseth treated her as a respected disabled veteran, but it's too bad that she can't show a little bit of respect to her fellow veteran and other veterans out there. That was shameful, and just the goodness of Hegseth, and I hope to God that he gets in with flying colors with other ones that Trump are. So you guys have a great day, and everyone out there. Peace.
Thanks, Kip.
Yeah, he'll be confirmed.
He will be.
Because Jody Ernst is on board.
By the way, just on the Jagoff thing, I'm fascinated by that back and forth. I really thought that was a Chicago word.
Jagoff?
Or maybe a Midwestern word.
I thought a jagbag was.
Well, that's
remember we had Jagbag Thursdays?
That's a modern, modern sort of recasting of that word, but the core of it was Jagoff. I mean, you can hear like Dennis Franz saying that word. It's a very Chicago thing. Yeah, exactly. And you say it with that accent.
You got a Chicago accent.
From your French room. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. So maybe that's why Jack Reed was confused, but I never thought about it in the context of a pejorative in the direction of a JAG officer who's a bit of a glory hound, as Pete Hegseth explained. I still like the general use of it, particularly in the direction of politicians. Bob in Buffalo Grove.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Always good talking to you. Two comments. One is Hegseth ought to host or get Ben Affleck to be
from the accountant, the movie. Yeah.
And then and the second one, I looked up what Jagoff origin was. It actually comes out of Pittsburgh.
Oh, see, Dan?
Really?
Yeah.
Give us the etymology. Continue.
Well, it's I don't know where the source of, but it's a jerk, and then
yeah, right.
Like, a real jerk idiot or what?
Yeah.
And then it came to Chicago, and it was used a lot by the Irish in Chicago.
Oh, the Irish.
Yeah, the Irish. The Irish popularized it. Chuck Noll gave it to us from Pittsburgh, and then the Irish popularized it. I can see him calling Terry Bradshaw a Jagoff in the locker room. Possible. Interesting. All right, I'm going to get this in.
What?
I mean, the whole thing yesterday calls to mind perhaps the greatest SNL skit ever, back when you had greats like Chris Farley and Dana Carvey and Phil Hartman. And here they are in that order as Howell Heflin, Strom Thurmond, brilliant, and Ted Kennedy during the Clarence Thomas hearings.
What porno movie did you talk about?
Well, I mainly spoke about a favorite of mine called the Heimlich Maneuver.
That's a good movie, George. But do you think hardcore porno is the way to go? Because I feel women prefer softer porn.
Senator Thurmond?
I agree with Senator Heflin. Yeah, that's right. The women like something with more stories and costumes that'll transport them to another place in time. That's right. Their inhibitions are often loosened by escape when they are allowed to fantasize in another era. Women don't like close-ups or oversized genitalia. That's just never gonna turn them on.
Another good thing is to get them out on your boat for some reason.
Oh my gosh.
Because then it's really hard for them to get away.
I so miss Farley and Hartman. Thank goodness Dana Carvey's still around. Maybe they could, Dana Carvey could put together an ensemble to do a proper send-up of what happened yesterday this weekend.
Today it's going to be sunny and cold, a high of 21 degrees at 6 a.m. WIND Chicago.
From Defense Secretary to Secretary of State, I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. This morning, it's a senator's turn to go in front of some of his colleagues.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio expected to receive a warm welcome at his confirmation hearing for Secretary of State. The Foreign Relations Committee has already scheduled a markup of Rubio's nomination for Inauguration Day, essentially penciling him in, signaling a swift vote and swearing in that night.
That's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. There are also 5 other Trump nominees with hearings this morning, including Pam Bondi for Attorney General and John Ratcliffe, the president-elect's pick to lead the CIA, the day after Pete Hegseth went first.
I'm not a perfect person, but redemption is real. And God forged me in ways that I know I'm prepared for.
And Democrats had the defense secretary nominee on defense, suggesting Hegseth not qualified, and questioning him on allegations he denies of sexual misconduct, financial mismanagement, and alcohol abuse. Senator Mazie Hirono asked,
will you resign as Secretary of Defense
I've made this commitment on behalf of the men and women I'm serving.
I'm not
because
hearing,
it's the most important deployment
I'm
of
not
my
hearing an
life.
answer to my question, so I'm going to move on.
But Democrats do not have the votes to block Hegseth. There's still concern about strong winds, fanning wildfire flames, worsening the disaster in Los Angeles.
We're just taking every day, one day at a time. And we are just very, very grateful for all our friends and family that have come to our rescue.
Leonardo Antinori tells Fox his home burned down, so he, his wife, and baby are among the thousands left homeless, 24 deaths confirmed. After weeks of political drama in South Korea, the impeached president has finally been arrested in a raid.
Investigators scaled barricades and cut through barbed wire, finally bringing South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol into custody. He's been impeached by Parliament and suspended from office. Judges are now deciding whether to remove him from power. This all stems from President Yoon's failed attempt to impose martial law last month.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. America's listening to Fox News.
6 degrees above zero, clear skies at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago's credit rating this morning is down. S&P Global Ratings announcing the city's general obligation bond rating went down again. It means the credit agency believes the city is more likely to default. Chicago man accused of sexually assaulting a developmentally disabled woman who became pregnant at a nursing home in Geneva is pleading guilty to aggravated criminal sexual assault. Prosecutors say Isaiah Fields sexually assaulted the victim at the Markham Hyde Center in 2023. Fields was arrested after the Kane County Sheriff's Office collected DNA samples from current and previous male employees of Markland. He faces up to 30 years. Michael Madigan finished with his testifying in the racketeering trial of the Chicago Democrat and co-defendant Michael McLean. They face charges accusing them of conspiring to participate in a wide array of bribery and local extortion schemes. An appeal by former Chicago Alderman Patrick Daley Thompson will be heard by the U.S. Supreme Court. The nation's high court is hearing from the grandson and nephew of Chicago's two longest-serving mayors. He was sentenced to 4 months in prison after being found guilty in 2022 of federal tax charges. It's a new era for the Chicago School District. Today, the first elected school board will officially be seated. Joining political appointees on the board, all allies of Mayor Brandon Johnson. Also at City Hall today, aldermen will likely vote on whether to let police work with federal agents when undocumented immigrants are arrested for certain crimes, including drug charges, prostitution, and loitering. Bulls fall apart in the fourth quarter and lose to one of the worst teams in the NBA last night, 119-113. Bulls hosting Atlanta later on tonight. College hoops, the Fighting Illini blow out the Hoosiers of Indiana, 94-69 at Assembly Hall. DePaul nearly tripped up number 7 Marquette, falling in overtime, 85-83. The Bears continue their head coaching search, interviewing former Stanford headman David Shaw. The news, a service of Low T Center. If you're not feeling that same energy anymore, testosterone therapy, or TRT, may be the answer. Low T Center brings over a decade of experience, so go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment, lowtcenter.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
We've started a new year. There's a buzz in the air. With the new incoming administration, what expectations do you have? Will we see a turnaround in the economy? Will inflation come down? And is there a way to stop the chaos on our southern border? Yeah, 2025 comes with some big expectations. And we're here to keep track of the goals. Here's to a great new year together. AM 560, The Answer.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other, and if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
When you hear the term living better, what do you think about? More money? A bigger house? Maybe a yacht? What about how you feel physically? How you wake up each day? How you sleep? What activities you can and cannot do? When you feel good, life is good. So if pain is affecting your life, see how Relief Factor can help. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or even eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. So give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call, 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're hurting, in 3 weeks or even days, Relief Factor can give you a chance to rediscover the true meaning of living better again. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
If you have high blood pressure, listen to this story. Ira was given a grim diagnosis about his blood pressure. His doctor warned it's sky high. If he didn't get it down in 3 weeks, he was going to need surgery. So Ira began exercising, went on medication. But what seemed to be the miracle change, his diet. After thorough research and consulting with a nutritionist friend, Ira concocted a juice from foods that work like natural blood pressure medicines. 2 weeks later, his blood pressure dropped 30 points. What helped save Ira's life, amazed his doctor, is now available to you. Ira and his nutritionist founded 120 Life, a delicious juice and powdered mix with natural ingredients that have shown to lower blood pressure. Try it yourself risk-free with a 2-week trial pack. Go to 120life.com and use coupon code 560 to save 15% and get free shipping. They're so sure it can noticeably lower your blood pressure in 2 weeks, they'll give your money back if you're not satisfied. Order now, 120life.com. Use coupon code 560 at checkout.
6:08 in our Team Hochberg Traffic Center this morning. We are seeing delays already building on the Kennedy outbound between Ohio and the Edens Expressway. Stevenson in 25 minutes already. 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Tri-State accident on the left shoulder northbound right at the Ike merge. Tri-State has a disabled vehicle northbound at the Jade Adams Toll Road I-90 as well. And delays in Carroll Stream this morning, Gary and North Avenue with an accident. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast and the latest with AccuWeather's Steve Williams.
Sunny to partly cloudy, cold today, the high 21. Clouds and flurries from late evening on tonight. Low 18, but temperatures rising into the 20s. Clouds breezy, not as cold tomorrow, the high tomorrow 35. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
6 above and clear at O'Hare, 6 above at Midway, 4 below in Aurora, 5 below in Kankakee, 1 below in Lansing, and 9 above along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Sports and politics and sports and politics and sports and politics and intersection. Arrogance and ignorance, arrogance, ignorance, and arrogance and ignorance. Intersection.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy, on this installment of Sports and Politics. The House yesterday passing a ban on dudes playing women's sports at federally funded schools. This is mission critical. The legislation that was passed by the House would amend Title IX, the federal civil rights law that prohibits sex discrimination in educational institutions, amend the Biden's amendment of it to return it to the idea that, biology governs, as Speaker Johnson said yesterday on the occasion of passing this legislation out of the House. We'll see what the Senate does in turn.
We know it from our religious tradition, which I believe is the truth. I'm a Bible-believing Christian, make no apology about that. But whether you regard that as the truth or not, it's also nature. It's biology. And biology is not bigotry, as we say. Anyone who would accuse the supporters of this legislation otherwise is ill-informed. This is to protect women and girls. It's very clear. It's been articulated well.
Only 2 Democrats in the House voted for it. 216 Republicans and 2 Democrats to get to 218. 206 out of the 208 Democrats who voted on this voted against it. We were talking last hour with respect to the performance of those socialist senators on the Senate Armed Services Committee at the Hegseth hearing yesterday, not getting the message that was sent as they continue to shriek identity politics. Well, here to me is another illustration of this, and it's an illustration of something else too that Speaker Johnson and hopefully congressional Republicans as well as the Trump White House understands. Something that was driven home last night to me in a talk that former Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker made that I attended. He talked about before running for president, he sought out former Indiana Governor Mitch Daniels to get some advice and counsel, which is a good person to seek out.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Walker took away from Daniels is about spending political capital. You think about political capital in the same way that businesses think about actual capital. which is it's something to invest so that you generate a return from the political capital you have. Your political capital is at your highest when you're elected. So get right to spending it in productive ways to reap a return on that spend. And this is what House Republicans did yesterday. It wasn't the central issue, but it was an important cultural touchstone that was a proxy for a lot of leftist social engineering. And House Republicans were wise, in my view, to move on this post-haste with respect to Title IX and put a marker down to say, you know, those commercials that we were running and the issues that we've made about men and women's sports and other surrogates have made, different organizations, including perhaps most prominently Riley Gaines, the former University of Kentucky swimmer. That's real. It's a real thing. And we're not going to be afraid of the lavender bund anymore. Maybe some Republicans are, but we're not. And this is going to be a real dividing line, a real contrast between the two parties so you understand the respective brands. This is a crossover issue, and Republicans are taking advantage of it, investing the political capital that they gained last November in a judicious way, in my view. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. And again, as we saw yesterday in the Hegseth hearing, these identitarians can't help themselves but to help provide a return on the investment of said political capital. And of course, somebody who continues to rise in prominence as one of the leading lights of the left, she's on track to perhaps displace AOC. I'm talking about socialist Spice Girl Jasmine Crockett, bleach, blonde, bad, built, butch, beach, body, spice. Yeah.
And she flicks her hair a lot. Like drama is she's on a soap opera.
Well, she was just fake eyelashes Spice until she had that cat fight with MTG. You remember.
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
No. There it goes.
Order.
Let the man.
Beneath even the order of your committee. Order.
I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Green's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down. Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl,
we are going to move, and we're going to take your words down.
I second that motion.
So, you agree to strike your words?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Jamie Raskin went out and burned his bra.
I believe she needs to apologize. No.
Okay, hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then you're
reserve the right to
your
object.
words.
I am not apologizing.
This is
Now let's go.
awesome.
Come on, guys.
It's me.
James Comer.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Oh, what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's a
I'm
parliament.
trying to find clarification on what qualifies.
Chairman, motion to strike
those words. I had no
those
idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just
You just voted to do
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down.
No, because this is what y'all do. So I'm trying to get
Ms.
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized.
Like you saw on display yesterday, those people are your betters, just so you understand. These are the noblemen and then magistrates that we send to D.C. because they have a particular set of skills that you don't possess. Do you understand?
And poor Comer's like, what now? Because he was caught in another congressional cat fight yesterday.
Well, before we get to that,
Okay.
first, again, Jasmine Crockett, bleach, blonde, bad-built, butch, beach body Spice on this matter of not allowing men to play women's sports.
Let me tell you something. Y'all need to find some people that actually care about their constituents And honestly, whenever y'all are ready to work, we on this side of the aisle have always been ready to do what is right by the American people. Instead, what you can continue to do is go after the most vulnerable in our country. The fact that you just sat up there and somehow figured out how to tie trans folk to your argument makes no sense to me. But let me tell you something. Trans people ain't going nowhere, just like when the racists wanted to make sure that black people somehow were going to be dismissed in this country. We ain't left either. And I'll yield.
Would you yield back?
So I'd love to, I mean, I haven't looked it up, but the neighborhoods that Jasmine Crockett represents in Dallas, at some point, it must register back home the things that she's saying and doing, and I just wonder how that's received. At some point, I think she goes full Karen Bass, and she's sort of over the edge, even though I understand Dallas to be a left-leaning city. You remember the mayor of Dallas famously flipped and became a Republican last cycle.
That's
so,
right. Yep.
Dallas is not Chicago, is not L.A., so it's interesting. But anyway, I digress. So the real conversation was with Crockett and then bring in Nancy Mace was legislation that Nancy Mace has introduced that would deport people in this country illegally who have committed a sexual crime. And this is what they were debating, and Speaker Johnson promised that the House would take that legislation up this week, I believe. Anyway, so that's what they were debating, and the issue of trans predators, because there are such, not all, obviously, but there are such, came up as you heard Crockett responding. And then it devolved into this with Nancy Mace.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody's campaign coffers really are struggling right now. So she gonna keep saying trans, trans, trans so that people will feel threatened. And child, listen, I want y'all to tell me whether or
Do
not
call me a child. I am no child.
I want
Don't
to
even
find
start.
out
I am a grown
which
woman.
of those
I am 47 years
emails
old. I have broken
actually
more
have
glass ceilings than you
Chairman,
ever
I
will
am
in my
reclaiming my
life.
time.
You will not do that. I
Order.
am not a child.
I am reclaiming my time.
If you want to take it outside,
Mr. Chairman, the committee is not in order.
Order.
Point of order. Point of order.
Order.
What now?
A what now? The what now?
Poor Gomer, he's a, what? Nobody tell me this is part of my job responsibilities. Breaking up congressional cat fights.
Nancy Mace, I mean, as obnoxious as Jasmine Crockett is, I have to say,
You're not a big fan.
watching Nancy Mace, listening to her, it reminds me of what Ozzie Guillen said about A.J. Brzezinski, which is that when he's on the opposing team, you really hate him, and when he's on your team, you hate him a little bit less.
Oh, that's right.
Even though I love A.J. Brzezinski, by the way. Awesome. And I like Ozzie Guillen, too. But that's how I feel about Nancy Mace.
Okay.
She's a mess, to put not too fine a point on it. Her legislation is fine, appropriate. Okay. I mean, it shouldn't be limited. Just anybody, I mean, this sort of should be covered in the anybody in this country illegally who has is a convicted felon or is charged with committing a crime, due process on the person charged, and then they're out one way or the other. I mean, that should cover the full panoply of criminal offenses and offenders. So I don't know why we need niche legislation per class of crimes. Everybody. But okay, we had a little fun. Richard, Southside, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, Dan and Amy, how you doing?
Good.
Yeah, love listening to you guys, and hey, thanks for having your offspring, Sean Thompson, there. I call into him once in a while. First time calling into you guys.
We're very proud of how we've raised him.
Yes, he's growing up so fast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, again, I telling your screener there, I call in, or I listen to The Enemy once in a while, and I believe it might have been Lawrence O'Donnell last night, MSNBC, or maybe one of those other. Literally for 10 minutes, they carried on that the law was essentially enabling pedophiles in schools by having them be able to check the genitalia of the students, coaches, teachers, whatever. went on for 10 minutes about that, and it said nothing about no boys and girls sports. They didn't say anything, not one peep about that. There was just something where the coaches, teachers will be able to look in the drawers. And
yeah, exactly.
So
I heard some of that. I mean,
What does that mean?
Thanks for the call, Richard. I'm glad you brought that up. They're saying that, well, the only way you can identify a boy playing in girls' sports is to say, drop your pants.
Oh, no one's doing that.
Of course not.
God.
Of course not. It's ridiculous.
Jeez.
We're going to have genitalia inspectors. This is the boogeyman politics the left always plays. There is a thing called a birth certificate. Maybe the fact that some 13-year-old girl has a mustache would be a tip-off. I mean, come on. Like, we don't know, people don't know boys playing girls' sports. As you know, Amy, from your experience in volleyball, when a guy is on the girls' team, guess what? Everybody knows it. When Leah Thomas is in the pool, everybody knows that's a dude. I mean,
you don't even have to discuss it.
Of course, but this is the dividing line, as we've talked about before. The party that is rooted in reality, and the what now party that suggests that if you eliminate boys, you put a ban on boys playing girls' sports to protect girls' sports, to restore Title IX to what it was 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes before the Biden administration, that now we're going to have genitalia inspectors. This is the hysterics of the left, as you saw on full display yesterday, both in the Senate and the House.
Text message, Dan and Amy, these Southern women are turning congressional hearings into the Jerry Springer show.
It's not just Southern women. Tammy Duckworth isn't Southern. Kristen Gillibrand isn't Southern. Dan and Amy, Chicago's Morning Answer.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
All right, Dan, I've been getting this text message daily. Good morning, Dan and Amy. Maybe I'm a little behind, but can Dan explain the lavender bund?
The what now? Oh yeah, lavender bund. Yes, it's the LGBTQIA two-spirit plus mafia, and lavender is the visible light spectrum or some combination of colors, from the like synthesizing the pride, spectrum, and then Bund is sort of a German word for union organization that dates back to the Reich.
All right, thank you.
And so, I thought it's a nice sort of combination that speaks to the totalitarian disposition of these those in the LGBTQIA2S plus that are of the new Marxist bent.
All right, thank you.
Because that's their attitude.
All right, you've heard the turnkey name for years on AM 560. Maybe you've thought that you don't need help because you've made it this far with your network. Have you grown your business or acquired another business? Do you have more than one network that you've hobbled together? Maybe your sales team has grown or your client base, or your network is old and outdated, holding your business back from its full potential. All of these reasons can leave your business open for security breaches, stop production, compromise sales, and cost you thousands of dollars. Be proactive. Don't leave it up to the hourly IT manager that comes in when he's available. Turnkey understands the importance of having a network you can count on. For the price of a monthly car payment, yeah, that's it. Turnkey will fully protect your network with the most secure, up-to-date cyber protection, unlimited backup, unlimited 24/7 help desk support, and real-time threat hunting, all by world-class technicians who really care about helping people. Protect your small business today. Visit turnkey.pro. Turnkey.pro, the champions of small business. Turnkey.pro.
Come on with this, people. Move it!
Did you really think you could make that company deliver yourself?
Oh, I cannot handle any more traffic.
You could be getting much more done at your place of business.
I've wasted 45 minutes and now this place is gonna close.
Time is money. Let Quick Delivery Service take on the traffic hassle for you. They'll deliver almost anything, from large pallets of materials to important documents, or both. No forms, no labels, no scanning. Just tell Quick Delivery Service where it's going, they'll pick it up, and get it to your destination quickly. Your cargo delivery is tracked in real time with GPS. Notifications are delivered right to your inbox. Visit quickdelivery.com. That's quickdelivery.com. Or you can deliver like this.
Seriously, another train?
Or get your delivery there on time with quickdelivery.com. Or call 847-534-2244. 847-534-2244.
All right, Justin Kosick, my favorite balance of nature consumer besides my mother. You still taking it?
Absolutely.
What about when we had time off for the Christmas break?
I slacked over Christmas, I will
And
admit.
how did it make you feel?
Sluggish, and now I'm starting to feel the effects of it.
Because you don't have to have afternoon coffee, right?
No nap, no coffee.
You're getting it done. Why does Justin take Balance of Nature? Why do I? Why do thousands of AM 560 listeners take Balance of Nature supplements? Because we're not getting enough fruits and veggies on our own, and that's where Balance of Nature comes in. 6 capsules a day provides your body, heart, and mind with several servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables. You're going to love it. Your body, mind, and heart will thank you for it. And when you don't have it, for me personally and for Justin, we feel a difference. So order your fruits and veggie supplements today by calling 800-246-8751. Use coupon code Chicago to save 35% and free shipping when you sign up as a new preferred customer. 800-246-8751. Call now or order online at balanceofnature.com and use coupon code Chicago.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
AM 560 listeners, sign up today to receive a free financial education video series, The 5 Retirement Pitfalls and How to Avoid Them, courtesy of Steve Shyman, host of Protecting Your Assets radio show, Saturdays at 8 a.m. Sign up is easy, and the 5-part video series is completely free and will arrive in your email inbox. Sign up today. It's free. Please text your name and email address to 833-945-7283. Again, please text your name and email address to 833-945-7283.
AM 560, The Answer.
Just a quick side note, a story Mike Scott reporting about Chicago's bond rating being downgraded to BBB, which is 2 notches above junk. And people like, how is it not junk already? I'll tell you how it's not junk already. Because those rating agencies are corrupt. Don't forget, they're the same rating agencies that gave AAA ratings to all those mortgage-backed securities before the Great Recession, the crash in 2009. So you have institutional investors looking for yield, and they don't really believe, because of the power to tax, that Chicago or Illinois will go bankrupt in any real way such that they don't get paid. And so it's a big scam to allow corrupt governments like Chicago and Illinois continue to pile up debt. Just so you understand that the rating agencies are part of that corruption.
All right, thank you. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:36, California Governor Patrick Bateman flies in Jen Psaki to help with damage control. 6:36.
And now he's blaming Elon Musk. We'll explain. But into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
6:33, 5 degrees above. South Korean officials have arrested impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol. It was the second attempt to detain the president, who has been impeached after his botched declaration of martial law in December. Tech giant Meta making changes to its workforce. Company planning to push out thousands of workers deemed low performers starting in February. One of the police officers convicted for in the death of George Floyd is being set free. Federal Bureau of Prisons says Alexander King is scheduled to be released today from a prison in Ohio. It's another day of battling raging infernos in Southern California as crews work to bring the number of wildfires under control as the death toll climbs to at least 25.
Tuesday's weaker than expected winds gave firefighters a break, but a final round of dangerous fire weather is expected in Southern California today, keeping millions of people on edge. A particularly dangerous situation red flag warning, which is rare, is in effect for parts of Los Angeles and Ventura counties, where wind gusts could reach 30 to 50 miles per hour in valleys and coastal areas. Tens of thousands are without power due to shutoffs to prevent lines from sparking new fires. CAL FIRE says more than 40,000 acres have burned, about half of that from the Palisades fire alone, which is only 18% contained. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Confirmation hearings continue on Capitol Hill. First up this morning, Pam Bondi, Donald Trump's pick for Attorney General. Stephanie Vaughn graduated from Stetson College of Law, 1 year behind Pam Bondi, and now is a professor there.
We are so very proud of Pam and everything that she's done up until this point in time, and now coming up to her confirmation hearing.
Senator Marco Rubio is up for Secretary of State. Senators will also question John Ratcliffe, a former Texas congressman that President-elect Trump wants to lead the CIA. A Chicago man accused of sexually assaulting a developmentally disabled woman who became pregnant at a nursing home in Geneva is pleading guilty. Prosecutors say Isaiah Fields sexually assaulted the victim at Markland Hyde Center in 2023. He faces up to 30 years in prison. The local division of the Postal Inspection Service is offering a $100,000 reward for information that may lead to the arrest and conviction of a mail thief. The suspected thief stole mail from a corporate building in the Loop in December. And earlier this month, while dressed as a mail carrier, the same person allegedly attempted to steal mail from a different Loop high-rise, but was unsuccessful. And yesterday, the Indiana House Republican caucus said they intend to redraw their state lines and enlarge the Hoosier state. Indiana House Speaker Todd Houston announced a plan to welcome 30 Illinois counties into Indiana.
To all of our neighbors to the west, we hear your frustration.
He authored House Bill 1008 yesterday, creating the Indiana-Illinois Boundary Adjustment Commission. The bill being heard in the House Government and Reform Committee.
That is a process that follows a constitutional process for redrawing state boundaries.
5-member commission would need a matching commission here in Illinois and agreement from the Illinois General Assembly. Bulls lost to New Orleans last night, 119-103, and host the Hawks later tonight. College hoops fighting Illini, a blowout win at Assembly Hall, beating Indiana, 94-69. DePaul nearly tripped up the number 7 team in the country, falling to Marquette in overtime, 85-83. The news, a service of AutoZone. Get in the zone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help you troubleshoot the likely cause of that pesky check engine light free and help you save time and money down the road. Restrictions apply. Get in the zone. AutoZone. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
You know, I'm 80 years old. I'm a veteran, and the reds and the greens, I really appreciate the vegan capsules from Balance of Nature. So I can definitely tell you it's all 100% positive. It really, really works.
I love the fiber and spice. I'm getting started back on the fruits and vegetables, but the fiber and spice, it's the best fiber I've ever taken in the last 20 years.
It's the best gift I've ever given myself. I just feel better. I swear it's due to Balance of Nature.
I am really, really happy with the product and couldn't say more to advise people to buy them.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
When I hear realtors boast about servicing a 3-county area or selling a home every 15 minutes, I think, what level of service could their clients possibly be getting? This is Chris Jacobs with Century 21 affiliated in Inverness, and my message is a little bit different. If being a realtor for more than 20 years has taught me one thing, it's that all real estate is local. While I can't say I'm the #1 realtor in the country, I can tell you that over the past 10 years I've sold more homes in Inverness than anyone else. My team specializes in Inverness, Palatine, and Arlington Heights. We pride ourselves on providing our clients exceptional customer service and local market knowledge. So if you're selling your home or looking to purchase a property in our area, then call me, Chris Jacobs, at 847-401-4859. That's 847-401-4859. Or visit us at chrisjacobshomes.com.
Each office independently owned and operated, an equal housing opportunity.
Is your child getting the personalized attention they need to excel in math? Mathnasium has a solution for students of all skill levels. Each child's strengths and weaknesses, creating a customized learning plan. If you have kids in school, you're probably starting to see how they're doing in math. Could it be better? Consider an individual assessment with Mathnasium. They'll pinpoint what your child needs to excel, then give them live, face-to-face instruction, either in-center or online, so they can catch up and get ahead. At Mathnasium, math is taught in a way that makes sense to students, so they understand it, master it, and enjoy it. Over 1 million parents have already trusted Mathnasium to give their children an edge in math. The Mathnasium method gives them the critical thinking skills they need to thrive, with the option to attend face-to-face online sessions or come to one of our 1,000 neighborhood learning centers. Mathnasium is changing lives through math. Learn more at mathnasium.com. That's mathnasium.com.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS or online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
641, let's get a check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Inbound on the Kennedy 25 and climbing O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. 55 northbound side between Weber and Route 53. There's an accident blocking a left-hand lane. Bishop Ford inbound. Report of an accident now being pushed onto the right-hand shoulder. It's inbound between 130th and 103rd. A disabled vehicle on the tri-state being shoved off to the right shoulder northbound right at the Jane Addams. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Sunny and cold, high 21 today. Mostly cloudy, couple of flurries, rising temps overnight, low 18. 6 above and clear at O'Hare, 5 above at Midway, 4 below in Aurora, 3 below in Joliet, 5 below in Kankakee, and 9 above along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. California Governor Patrick Bateman sending an SOS out to MSNBC to get Jen Psaki to California post-haste.
For what?
Well, for damage control, of course. So Gavin Newsom gave an exclusive.
I love this. Exclusive after he's already talked to other people. Okay.
Exclusive to Jen Psaki. She's a journalist now, just like George Stephanopoulos. To lament the misinformation that's really a danger to Californians and all of us. And the perpetrators, Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Gavin Newsom, the hero in this story. Trump and Musk, the villains.
What's not, I think, helpful or beneficial is this string of consciousness, these wild-eyed fantasies that somehow the state water project, we have reservoirs that are at or near historic highs, full, completely full, that somehow there's a magical spigot in California, in Northern California, that just can be turned on, and all of a sudden there will be rain or water flowing everywhere. It's not helpful. It's damaging to the very foundation of the notion of what are facts, what are truths. And the fact of that asymmetry, that's profound and consequential, amplified by people like, let's be candid, Elon Musk and others. And that 1-2 punch is real. And it's not just about this fire. As our hurricane force winds of mis and disinformation that can divide a country on a myriad of issues, this is serious.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. I mean, this guy is so schmarmy and slimy, and he's just full of what about the Santa Ynez reservoir? That's where the water was needed. You can have reservoirs, I'm sure you do, but the place where they needed it the most, it was dry and it was under construction.
Well, whether it was dry or not, it was offline. And the follow-up question, if Psaki were an actual journalist and not just a flack for Newsom and the left, which is, of course, what she is, what the entire network is. So everything was operational that should have been operational. Then why did you send a letter to the Department of Water and Power asking about that reservoir up in Pacific Palisades and what happened there? What was it? What was the? If everything was firing on all cylinders, then what was the need for the letter? You're looking for answers that you don't have, right? Oh, yeah. No, but we have to focus on misinformation and disinformation, which is a great disinformation and misinformation campaign that Gavin Newsom is trying to run. On the whole matter that he keeps going back to about the dams that he and then the governor of Oregon, Kate Brown, removed to protect smelt. As Alyssa Finley wrote in the Wall Street Journal, we mentioned this before, but we'll mention it again since Newsom is persisting with his disinformation, misinformation campaign. Alyssa Finley, smelt protections restrict the amount of water that flows from the state's north to the south. That has led to billions of gallons of water being flushed out to the Pacific Ocean each year, along with chronic water shortages, high unemployment, overpumped wells, and environmental degradation in the state's Central Valley. Mr. Newsom opposed Mr. Trump's first-term efforts to ease the fish protections, and as she said, wonderful quip, you can lead California progressives to water, but you can't make them think.
I love her. I read that article yesterday. It was really good.
Yeah. And we also find more and more videos being unearthed from the LA Fire Department in terms of where their priorities are. And to mention again, before this little piece of misunderstanding is regurgitated, 5% of the fire department's budget went to wildfire prevention.
That's it.
Because they were focused on, what Chief Crowley said was the number one goal when she took the position at 440K DEI. And she wasn't kidding. Meet LAFD captain. Yes, LAFD Captain Jennifer Wilcox. She'd like to introduce herself.
My name is Captain Jennifer Wilcox. My pronouns are she, her. I am a Caucasian female wearing a black shirt uniform with eyewear and a black hat.
Very descriptive.
Why? They're embarrassing themselves when they do that. Because remember, Kamala Harris did that too. Remember, she was at some meeting. She goes, "I am a black female.
Yes.
I am wearing a brown jacket with." I mean,
yes, my jacket is a jacket of color. Karen Bass, she's still the mayor of L.A., although well, who knows for how much longer. I don't know, but a potential recall afoot when people are resettled. I don't know. Karen Bass asked if she has any regrets about, for example, breaking her campaign promise for the 6th time and leaving the country to go to the installation of the Ghanan president. She was asked, and her answer was no answer.
Looking back, would you have taken that trip overseas?
You know, I am going to focus today
But please,
on what we know.
Can I ask you one question about round gouging?
And she wasn't saying, no, I wouldn't have done it. She was saying, no, I'm not going to answer that.
And of those 4 of those 6, when, you know, again, as you just mentioned, she ran for office. She said she's never going to go on a foreign trip. 4 of those 6 trips, LA taxpayer dollars paid for those trips.
She kept going back to the Olympics. I'm sure she was doing scouting for the upcoming LA Olympics.
Right.
You know, she's her expertise there.
But I got to tell you, too, Governor Newsom, I mean, he's picking a fight with Elon Musk now. He's accusing the billionaire of spreading lies about the state's response, that he's encouraging looting. Newsom is mad at Elon Musk for pointing out California's soft on crimes law, and Newsom says that is encouraging looting. I mean, he is desperate right now.
Newsom's opposition to Prop 36, which would recriminalize thefts under $950, his opposition to that, despite voters overwhelmingly supporting it, that has nothing to do with it. By the way, I mean, again, the perfect, I don't mean this like it's a happy occurrence, but just the confluence of all the consequences from all these idiotic leftist policies. Open borders, decarceration, deprosecution, decriminalization. That dude that got arrested with a blowtorch, who was initially a suspect in the Kenneth fire, and then LAPD said they didn't have probable cause to charge him.
Yeah.
He's an illegal immigrant from Mexico, and his rap sheet is longer than my arm.
Really?
And it dates back to 2016. Transport of a controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance, trespass, possession of a controlled substance, threatened crime with intent to terrorize. That's 6 years ago, 2018. Vandalism, robbery, fraud, contempt, assault with a deadly weapon, not a firearm. That was 2023. Possession of paraphernalia, October of 2024. And then this blowtorch incident, which is a curious thing, but I guess LAPD doesn't believe they can make out the case that he committed arson. We'll wait to see. The bottom line is an illegal immigrant with almost a decade-long rap sheet is arrested with a blowtorch in California adjacent to this disaster there.
And on an ancillary issue, I just want everybody to hear this. Governor Newsom, before he attacked Elon Musk with this misinformation, disinformation, he accused Trump of threatening California firefighters.
I've been pretty expressive about that in context of someone threatening our first responders in terms of supporting the immediacy of their needs.
That's what you take it as, that President-elect Trump is threatening the first responders here.
Well, I mean, it's what he said. He said, I'm not going to support the firefighting efforts. I'm not going to support the state of California as it relates to its emergency management. He made this pretty clear during the election, unless they do my bidding.
That's not at all what's being said. What's being said is, well, I mean, Kevin O'Leary.
He was great.
Is basically saying that, until Newsom and Bass are removed from office, the federal government should provide nothing. But Kevin O'Leary is not a spokeshuman for the Trump administration. He's a spokeshuman for Kevin O'Leary. What Speaker Johnson has said and what Trump has sort of intimated, without being specific, is provide relief as is possible, but it perhaps needs to be conditional on changes in land and water management policy, which is wholly appropriate.
Right.
Jordan and Antioch here on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning. I told the screener it's heartbreaking to see what these people have to go through at the hands of their government, and it kills me to see this. But on the other hand, they can't hide from this, and that's why they're doing what they can do. Here in Illinois, they can paper over budget, the money, and everything else, right? Because they can just hide it in the media. They can hide it and not present it in the facts. They can do it. You can't hide 20,000 homes gone. You can't hide that failure, and they're doing everything they can to try to spin it some other way. And all they're doing is, when they're spinning, it's just like spinning paint off a paint stirrer when you're done with it. It's flinging everything to the other failures that they've done, and people are starting to pick up on those and start to question. And I heard something really telling on Twitter, and I can't find it again, or I'd send it to you. It was just a street journalist, just a regular guy with a Twitter page, and he was in California, and he was asking people in the neighborhoods in that what is the Palisades, and they asked him. They said, "What are your plans? What are you going to do now?" And there were like 5 people that he asked that looked around, and they said, "Well, there's nothing keeping me here now." And that's telling. They're staying because they have their homes and their schools and everything else, and they're dealing. And it's just like Illinois, because I'm part of that crew where I got my house. I'm almost paid off. My kids graduating high school, going to go to college. I'm kind of stuck here until I feel I can make that move that's not going to really affect it, because I don't have the money to just pick up stakes and be a garbage man somewhere else. But now these people have lost everything, and the only thing they have left is to rebuild, and they're going to do it somewhere else, somewhere where they're not being taken advantage of.
Hey, Jordan. Jordan, did you put in to ride in the garbage truck that they're pulling from Green Bay for the inauguration?
Listen, if I could, I would take the day off to do that.
That's going to be great. The Village people
Thanks,
are going to
Jordan.
perform, and Carrie Underwood.
Tony, Southside.
Good morning, Amy, Lammy, Lamb, and Dan. Hey, real quick, Dan did a really good job at pointing out the illegal immigrants, all of his crimes. But what you neglected to point out was, what are his pronouns?
Exactly.
Oh, see,
that is the controlling question. Very good, Tony.
important. Come
Thanks
on.
for the call.
But I
Dan
got to
and
tell
Amy,
you, okay.
Chicago's Morning Answer.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Keene Jr. of the Mail House, Inc., a family-owned and operated digital print mail house with a specialty in political advertising and a customer of Signature Bank. We knew that getting a loan to buy our business wouldn't be easy, so we turned to one of our trusted friends for a referral. She told us about the outstanding level of customer service her business received at Signature Bank since becoming one of their first customers in 2006. Today, we couldn't be happier. Not only did Signature help us finance the purchase of the mail house, but they supported our growth as we modernized our operations in mailing as well as from traditional to digital printing. If you're looking for a great bank to grow your business, take a look at Signature Bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Oh, I remember it like it was yesterday, meeting a woman who had gone to QC Kinetics. She said she did not want to get hip replacement surgery. She had one of her hips done, and she said it still hurt. So she went to QC Kinetics and was raving about it. So if you have pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder, don't go under the knife. Make the decision now to see QC Kinetics for a free consultation. QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine and joint preservation. They're right here in the Chicago area under the leadership of Medical Director Dr. Ashley Caravelli. Yes, you can revitalize your joints with advanced orthobiologic treatments at QC Kinetics. No steroids, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. Folks, this is the future of medicine, using an array of natural solutions like PRP to attack the pain from arthritis or from an injury. So many of our neighbors have discovered these cellular treatments and are living life again. Don't put it off. Call today for a free consultation. They'll walk you through the procedure, see how it works, and they'll tell you whether or not you are the right candidate for QC Kinetics. Here's the number to call, 312-809-5955, 312-809-5955. Again, that's 312-809-5955.
You know, the new year is a great time to reconsider how we do things, like how to make things better in 2025. Like when it comes to the whole struggle of how to pay for your health care, people generally are not happy with the status quo. But there's good news. There's a much better option, and it's proven too. MediShare is refreshing. You can save thousands of dollars a year. Many save up to $500 a month, seriously. And you get to choose from a huge network of doctors and providers. And maybe the best part, and we know this from research on why people join MediShare, they love this. Instead of sending your money every month to a huge corporation that might fund all sorts of procedures or things you don't believe in, you're joining a faith-based network of people who actually care about each other. And like I said, that's refreshing. There is a better option. You don't have to do it the way you've always done it. You can make a change and start saving now. Here's the number. They're easy to talk to. Call 844-47-BIBLE. That's 844-47-BIBLE. 844-47-BIBLE.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The anti-Semites in the Biden administration have the last word on the Middle East on 60 Minutes. We'll talk to Rich Goldberg about that at 7:07.
It is now 7 a.m. WIND Chicago.
It's Marco Rubio's turn in the Trump spotlight. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The senator's confirmation hearings this morning for Secretary of State and his Republican colleague, Senator Tom Cotton, tells Fox.
Well, I think Marco will do a great job, not just at this hearing, but implementing President Trump's foreign policy. I suspect the Democrats will focus on some of their past differences. They did, after all, run against each other in 2016.
Also today,
the Senate Intelligence Committee will question Trump's nominee to lead CIA, John Ratcliffe, who previously directed the entire nation's spy apparatus as Director of National Intelligence. As a former House member, he was a staunch Trump defender in Congress. Plus, Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi will sit for one of a two-day confirmation hearing this morning on Capitol Hill.
That's Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. Also facing hearings today, the Trump nominees for Energy and Transportation Secretaries and the Director of the Office of Management and Budget. The day after Pete Hegseth's contentious hearing with Democrats who don't have the votes to block the defense secretary nominee, telling Hegseth he's not qualified and questioning him over sexual misconduct and financial mismanagement and alcohol abuse allegations. Republican Senator Jim Banks tells Fox.
The Democrats made up false accusations with unverified rumors and tried to use that against Pete, but he swept it all aside. He focused on the issues.
5 days before President-elect Trump returns to the White House, President Biden will go on TV, giving a farewell address tonight from the Oval Office, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. On his way out, the president's notified Congress he plans to lift the designation of Cuba as a state sponsor of terror.
It's part of a deal struck by the Catholic Church, which will see hundreds of Cuba's political prisoners freed. The U.S. considers these inmates unjustly detained. The White House will also lift some economic restrictions.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. It's a Cuba policy change President-elect Trump could undo. There's still strong wind worry in the Los Angeles area, fearing the wildfires could get worse. They've already burned down more than 12,000 homes and buildings with 24 deaths confirmed. America's listening to Fox News.
7:02 on AM 560. The Answer, 5 degrees above zero in clear skies. A person critically hurt injured in a fire on the Northwest Side early this morning around 1 a.m. Fire broke out in the 2300 block of North Meade. Firefighters tell us the victim was transported to Loyola University Medical Center in critical condition. A shooting in Andersonville left a man dead and another badly hurt Tuesday night. It happened on Chicago's north side as police found a 26-year-old man sitting in the street suffering from gunshot wounds to the shoulder and neck. Inside of his car in a nearby alley, officers found a second man who was roughly 21 and had been shot in the head. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Michael Madigan has finished testifying in his racketeering trial. The former Illinois House Speaker left the witness stand yesterday after nearly 12 hours of testimony over 4 days. The Chicago Democrat and co-defendant Michael McLean face charges accusing them of conspiring to participate in an array of bribery and extortion schemes. An appeal by former Chicago Alderman Patrick Daley Thompson is being heard by the U.S. Supreme Court. The nation's high court heard arguments from the grandson and nephew of Chicago's two longest-serving mayors. Daley claims he was wrongly convicted of lying to bank regulators, even though his statements were misleading. It's a new era for the Chicago's Public School Board. Its first elected board will officially be seated. Joining political appointees on the board, all allies of Mayor Brandon Johnson. Also, a Chicago alderman is proposing a law change today at City Hall that would give aldermen more of a say in any of the mayor's appointments in the future to the Board of Education, just like the council has oversight on other agencies like the CTA and the Park District. The Bulls fell apart in the third quarter and lost one of the worst teams in the NBA last night, falling to New Orleans 119-113. Bulls host the Hawks later on tonight. Fighting Illini, a Big Ten win, blowing out Indiana at Assembly Hall, 94-69. DePaul falling to Marquette in overtime, 85-83. The news service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Save 35% off your first preferred order with promo code Chicago. Order online at balanceofnature.com. Hurry, offer ends soon. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
It's a new year, and any day now, you'll see that credit card bill for all the Christmas shopping you did. It sure would be nice to start the new year with some new cash, wouldn't it? Well, AM 560 wants to make that happen by giving you the chance to win $2,025 to start 2025. Enter for your chance to win at 560theanswer.com/cash. That's 560theanswer.com/cash.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Chicago.
When you hear the term living better, what do you think about? More money? A bigger house? Maybe a yacht? What about how you feel physically? How you wake up each day? How you sleep? What activities you can and cannot do? When you feel good, life is good. So if pain is affecting your life, see how Relief Factor can help. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or even eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. So give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call, 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're hurting, in 3 weeks or even days, Relief Factor can give you a chance to rediscover the true meaning of living better again. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
You know, the new year is a great time to reconsider how we do things, like how to make things better in 2025. Like when it comes to the whole struggle of how to pay for your health care, people generally are not happy with the status quo. But there's good news. There's a much better option, and it's proven, too. MediShare is refreshing. You can save thousands of dollars a year. Many save up to $500 a month, seriously. And you get to choose from a huge network of doctors and providers. And maybe the best part, and we know this from research on why people join MediShare, they love this. Instead of sending your money every month to a huge corporation that might fund all sorts of procedures or things you don't believe in, you're joining a faith-based network of people who actually care about each other. And like I said, that's refreshing. There is a better option. You don't have to do it the way you've always done it. You can make a change and start saving now. Here's the number. They're easy to talk to. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
An informed and educated citizenry is the only guarantee to preserve our constitutional republic. And each week, you'll hear from experts, not pundits, and find out what's really happening, from local issues to national politics. Listen to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. There's no topic of public policy concern that she won't talk about. Stop the lies. Learn the truth. Join the conversation. Sunday night at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
7:09. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of Valdecas Windows for the discerning homeowner looking for high quality and professional level window replacement service. Contact Valdecas Windows, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella certified contractor, Valdecas.com. Tri-State 294 southbound. A disabled vehicle being cleared just north of Cermak Road. Bishop Ford, an earlier accident inbound between 130th and the Stony Island feeder has been cleared. Stevenson stop-and-go traffic inbound between Harlem and Kedzie. Kennedy Express lanes, accident right lane blocked inbound between Kimball and North Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Sunny to partly cloudy, cold today, the high 21. Clouds and flurries from late evening on tonight. Low 18, but temperatures rising into the 20s. Clouds breezy, not as cold tomorrow, the high tomorrow 35. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Clear skies, 5 above at O'Hare, 0 in Aurora, 2 below in Joliet, 4 below in Kankakee, and 8 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Question I get a lot, as I'm sure you do, Amy, is who is like your favorite person or most high-profile person that you ever interviewed?
I know people ask that all the time, and it changes.
What's your answer?
Probably Barack Obama.
I've heard of him.
I'll never forget. He's like, Amy, I know I'm not going to win when he's running against Bobby Rush. And I said, you're not going to win. He goes, I know, I'm just trying to get my name out there. Oh, he got his name out there.
So you only interviewed him when he was running for Congress, when he was a state senator.
Yeah, and then I did some events with him when he was a U.S. senator.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, that's a real brush with greatness.
Well,
oh boy.
Well, then there was Mariah Carey. Martha Stewart was awesome. I got to tell you, that chick she was good. I loved her.
Right. And I mean, it's not a big deal because you've dated stars, Edward James Olmos, Mario Lopez. So
yeah, I went on a date with him, and he called his mom every half hour.
Well, he's
a mama's boy. It's okay.
Yeah, he's a nice young man.
Yeah. What about you?
Well, for me, people expect you to say, oh, like Dick Cheney, George W., or something like that. But for me, it was Elie Wiesel. And this was when I was at WLS. So it was Bruce Wolf and I. And for those of you who don't know, Elie Wiesel was the Nobel Prize winner who wrote the book Night. He was a Holocaust survivor as a child. And I remember reading the book in high school. And then to get to interview, and then he went on to an academic career and very productive life. And he just passed away. He moved to Florida smartly. And he just passed away a few years ago. But that was like it was chilling. It was an honor. It was really chilling after reading his story in Night and thinking about the history of Western civilization and his contributions to it. That was my favorite, I think, most important interview I've ever been a party to. Which brings us to Maine West High School.
The Warriors.
Come out to play, yay. A controversial assignment, and the reporting on this is pretty sketchy, so you sort of have to read between the lines. There is a English department chair. Since when do high schools have chairmans of departments? When I was in high school, it was just like, that's my English teacher.
Oh, we had department chairs at Hersey, always.
Figures. The government schools, they love their bureaus. Elie Wiesel's, the chairman of the Maine West English department is named Sausan Jabber. The assignment that she gave her class, her English class, was to read portions of Elie Wiesel's memoir, Night, and then juxtapose it to the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict and make TikTok videos about it. Why portions? It's not that long a read, and it's not that difficult. It's difficult sort of
personally, processing
emotionally, but it's not difficult in terms of understanding. The Chicago Jewish Alliance has publicly expressed concern about it. We had concerned teachers, past teachers, students who feel uncomfortable in the classroom. We don't want to silence anybody. That's not what our goal is. But I have a fiduciary duty to the Jewish students, teachers, and community, said Chicago Jewish Alliance co-founder Daniel Schwartz. But others have rallied to the defense of this teacher and the assignment, including a former student who praised the teacher, Jabber, how she changed the English curriculum, focusing on lessons that promote global citizenship and social justice. Also giving students whose ethnic struggles are not represented a space to be. The Council on American Islamic Relations has weighed in, Joseph Myburn from that organization. If we're going to take the lessons of the Holocaust, it deserves to be more. We need to understand that never again means we have to speak out against all genocides that are happening. Other genocides have happened since the Holocaust and before the Holocaust. What she, the teacher, did is simply allow the Holocaust to be discussed among other genocides. So I think if you're listening attentively, you probably are picking up what they're doing, which is they're comparing the Israeli response to the October 7th terrorist attack in Gaza to the Holocaust. And she is encouraging her students to make those comparisons and to take passages from Night, Elie Wiesel's magnum opus, to further that erroneous comparison. Now, you can take whatever position you want, but this is, when you want to talk about indoctrination and sort of directing students to think a certain way rather than exposing them to ideas and then having discussions about said ideas, periods of history, current events. This is not that. So I hope more students in District 207 and parents will weigh in on this, perhaps provide more detail than the local newspaper was able to as they tried to sort of paper over what's really happening here. But it's pretty clear to me. Oh, and by the way, speaking of current genocides, the Wall Street Journal reminded us of one. that we mentioned before, but it's been a minute. In April of 2023, Secretary of State animatronic Anthony Blinken said the Sudanese Rapid Support Forces have systemically murdered men and boys, even infants, on an ethnic basis, while they targeted women and girls on an ethnic basis for rape and other forms of brutal sexual violence. That's the Biden administration Secretary of State describing a genocide that is occurring in Sudan right now. Where's the flags being raised about that? I mean, it's a description that's been offered by Blinken. What is the Biden administration doing about that? Where's the discussion of it? You want to talk about genocides? Where are the college protests? Where is the chair of the English department at Maine West offering this comparison as for consideration? Interesting how those who come from what they would call an anti-Zionist perspective, what I feel is more like a general anti-Semitic perspective, like to cherry pick, isn't it? And this is what you saw in 60 Minutes, the exit interviews for Biden administration officials, many of whom, and this tells you a lot about the State Department too, including under Trump, because we had some holdovers there, people who embedded themselves, were difficult to extract, like ticks. 60 Minutes this weekend platforming two Biden administration State Department officials who resigned over the Biden administration's policy on the Middle East because it wasn't pro-Palestinian enough. And we understand the Biden administration policy on the terrorist attack and the Israeli response is just what you saw from Kamala during the campaign, which is to try to middle the issue, to try to have it both ways rather than speak with moral clarity on the matter the way that, say, Prime Minister Netanyahu has been able to. So let's hear from them. Hala Raharit, who resigned over the administration's policies.
The level of anger throughout the Arab world, and I'll say beyond the Arab world, is palpable. Protests began erupting in the Arab world, which I was also documenting, with people burning American flags. This is very significant because we worked so hard after the war on terror to strengthen ties with the Arab world.
You believe that this has put a target on America's back, you've said.
100%.
Those are strong words.
Yes. I don't say them lightly. And I say it as someone that myself has survived 2 terrorist attacks. My first assignment was in the U.S. Embassy in Yemen. I survived a mortar attack. I say it as someone who has worked intensely on these issues and has intensely monitored the region for 2 decades.
Multiple diplomats we spoke with say the U.S. policy on Gaza has led to widespread dissent at the State Department. A rarely used method of sending cables to the Secretary of State, created during the Vietnam War so employees could voice objection, has received a record number of submissions over Gaza. 13 officials, including from the State Department, White House, and Army, have publicly resigned in protest.
Well, sure. Where do you think those State Department officials come from? The college campuses that have been roiled by these outrageous anti-Semitic protests. So where's the surprise? Josh Paul is another one. This is an amazing statement that he makes. Another State Department official in the Biden administration who resigned in protest.
There are people who might argue that this isn't a time for debate, particularly in those immediate days in the aftermath of October 7th.
I would argue exactly the opposite. I think the moment of October 7th was a moment of incredible worldwide solidarity with Israel. And had Israel leveraged that moment to press for a real, just, and lasting peace, I think we would be in a very different place now, in which Israel would not be facing this increasing isolation around the world, and in which its hostages would be free.
Nothing like a terrorist attack to jumpstart the peace process, says Josh Paul. These are the deep thinkers in the State Department, at least a couple of them. The woman is from spent her time at Georgetown. Real impressive credentials. The thinking, not so impressive. For more on this, please be joined by Rich Goldberg, former National Security Council official and U.S. Senate aide, currently senior advisor at the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Rich, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
You bet. Good morning.
The two Biden administration officials that you just heard from, that I'm sure you saw on 60 Minutes, and what they represent in terms of the administration's posture towards Israel and the prospect of a hostage deal.
Well, these are known quantities. I mean, they have been doing this trotting out of hysteria, since they resigned very publicly. They got ink spilled on them, giving interviews, hating on the administration, hating on Israel. I mean, they're true ideological warriors against Israel, against the West. That Josh Paul has been picked up by a foreign-funded, I think Qatari-funded operation called Dawn. All they do is they're just a conveyor belt of anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, anti-Semitic information into the State Department, where a lot of the sanctions threats against Israel have come from. So I'm not surprised by that. I'm shocked that they continue to be platformed on the way out, but that's their game. As far as the ceasefire on the table here, listen, I'll be honest, I have a lot of concerns about this deal. If I had my druthers, this would be all hell to pay unless you surrender immediately and release all the hostages. Otherwise, we clear Israel to do whatever it takes to destroy Hamas in Gaza once and for all, and go after all the state sponsors like the Qataris and the Turks and the Egyptians and the Lebanese and others who have been enabling all of this, not to mention Iran, the parent company. But we are here, and it does seem that there is at least a posture on the other side because of President Trump's threats to bring holy hell down if there's not a deal. And this is essentially the framework that the Israelis have accepted over many months. And every time they've accepted it, Hamas or its sponsors have played some games, pulled back, changed the terms. They're not doing that at this point. In the first 42 days, if the Israelis can get back living hostages and not pay long-term costs, at least on the ground, with full withdrawals, it could be worthwhile as a benefit to at least try to resolve some of the psychological warfare that continues to go on that's inhibited their war campaign against Hamas. Get people back alive is a good thing. We should understand that we're going to learn that a lot of people are not alive in this process, and it's going to be even more painful if this unfolds. But once you get past that 42 days, thinking about all the terrorists you're releasing back into the wild, people who are real hardened core Palestinian terrorists who will return to the battlefield, and then actually ceding Gaza back to Hamas, I don't see how that's a sustainable reality for Israel long term. So we'll see how this plays out. But in the near term, if they can't get people back, the living hostages out, which clears a big hurdle in their campaign in Gaza, that would be a good thing.
So the Qataris, who have provided sanctuary for Hamas senior leadership and are, have been the broker here between the two sides. As you say, the more pressure being put on the Qataris. But then what do we expect the Qataris' position to be if there were a ceasefire and the hostage release? Then what happens, and what is it that Israel and America should be prepared for?
I think that's a fundamental question here. Let's put aside the downsides of the deal, which I think are many. Let's say you actually played this out to the end of this deal. All the living hostages, all the dead hostages have been recovered. By the way, we should remind people there's 7 American citizens among them. I'm told 3 of whom are still alive and hopefully will come out in this first phase. But let's say you've gotten to this end point. You're going to have Hamas potentially retaking power, restoring its strength in Gaza. Unacceptable. You're still going to have a major non-NATO ally in Qatar sponsoring and harboring Hamas. Unacceptable. A NATO ally in Turkey, a recipient of U.S. foreign aid in Egypt or Lebanon coddling Hamas. Can't happen. We're going to have completely different policies towards these countries. Once the hostage extortion game has been alleviated from us, there should be no more illusion of this Qatari scam that we need Qatar as an interlocutor to a radical terrorist organization that butchers people the way Hamas does. That game has to be over.
Well, do you think something will actually be done before Trump is sworn in next Monday? Because he did remind everybody that they'd be holy hell to pay if they were not returned.
Well, it doesn't appear under the framework that all hostages would be released. It's possible, if you read some of the details being leaked, that there's going to be 3 hostages released up front, which could happen before Inauguration Day. If those are the 3 living Americans, that would obviously be a pretty big symbolic victory for Trump and his threats and his demands. It's possible at least 2 of them would fall into the categories we've seen defined, which are these humanitarian categories. The third is an IDF soldier, young man, Idan Alexander, who was featured in the video a few weeks ago, propagandizing for Hamas, reading their script and calling out to President Trump. But if he could get Idan and the other 2 Americans in the package and get them out, he wouldn't get all the hostages out, but he'd get all the living Americans out.
Yesterday, Pete Hegseth's confirmation hearing before Senate Armed Services, Mazie Hirono, who is, as you know, a dizzying intellect, pressed Pete Hegseth on these matters that have sent the D.C. press corps spinning Trump's interests in the Panama Canal and Greenland. It went like this.
Moving on. President-elect has attacked our allies in recent weeks, refusing to rule out using military force to take over Greenland and the Panama Canal, and threatening to make Canada the 51st state. Would you carry out an order from President Trump to seize Greenland, a territory of our NATO ally Denmark, by force, or would you comply with an order to take over the Panama Canal?
Senator, I will emphasize that President Trump received 77 million votes to be the lawful commander-in-chief of this country.
We're not talking about the election. My question is, would you use our military to take over Greenland or an ally of Denmark?
Senator, one of the things that President Trump is so good at is never strategically tipping his hand. And so I would never in this public forum give one way or another direct what orders the president would give me in any context.
Mazie Hirono, maybe she was a little under the weather or inebriated, not sure. She can't decide if Greenland is a territory of Denmark or just an ally of Denmark. But nonetheless, Rich, so in what order should Pete Hegseth dispatch special forces to take over Greenland, the Panama Canal, and then ultimately Canada?
Yeah, I'd be surprised how many members of Congress could find Greenland or the Panama Canal on a map without any identifying marks on the map, one of those blank ones. But apparently they're very, very, very concerned about these territories now actually coming under U.S. influence instead of moving towards Chinese CCP influence in the future. Anybody who believes that it's in our interest to allow China to take control of the Panama Canal needs their head examined. And people need to really do some research on what Greenland means strategically for the future if that falls into the orbit of China and Russia, vis-a-vis the critical minerals in Greenland, and of course access through the Arctic and all the routes that possibly will be opened up in the future. So it's a ridiculous line of questioning, obviously, and I think Pete Hegseth did a very good job in not engaging in a hypothetical that was ludicrous.
By the way, everything old is new again. Ronald Reagan made American control of the Panama Canal an issue when he ran against Ford in '76, and then again Carter, in '80. I mean, it's just very interesting. This is not a new concern about sort of control of something that we built and paid for in our hemisphere for our purposes.
Right, and a problem we face because of Carter in many ways.
Yes. Rich Goldberg, former National Security Council official and U.S. Senate aide, currently senior advisor at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Rich, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 7:37, we'll talk to our friend Steve Moore, economist Steve Moore, about incoming Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent's 333 plan. 333 at 7:37.
Forget 999. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
7:32, 5 degrees, skies are clear, sunrise over Chicago. Russia's military on Tuesday retaliated against Ukraine after Kyiv attacked Russia by firing U.S.-made and U.K.-made cruise missiles and ballistic missiles, and launching the largest drone attack to date on Russia, targeting oil, chemical, and ammo plants. South African authorities say they pulled 36 dead bodies and over 80 survivors from a gold mine over the past 2 days. Hundreds more are still trapped underground. The death toll from the Los Angeles wildfires has risen to at least 25. An additional death has been linked to the Palisades fire.
I don't want people to start thinking everything's okay now. Everything's not okay yet. We'll get there. We'll get there together. But again, the wind's blowing and it's going to continue to blow.
Sheriff Luna, 16 deaths have been attributed to the Eaton fire alone. President Biden giving his farewell address to the nation in prime time tonight, days before leaving the White House. Confirmation hearings continue on Capitol Hill as senators question more of President-elect Trump's cabinet picks. First up, Pam Bondi, Trump's pick for Attorney General. Another Florida politician, Senator Marco Rubio, is up for Secretary of State. Cuba expert Dr. Andy Gomez expects Rubio to sail through.
Marco understands very well that negotiating with the Cuban government is not going to get you anywhere. We saw it during the Obama years.
Rubio has been in the Senate since 2010. A person critically injured in a fire on the northwest side this morning. Police say the blaze broke out around 12:52 and fire responded to the 2300 block of North Meade. The victim was transported to Loyola University Medical Center in critical condition. A shooting in Andersonville left a man dead, another wounded Tuesday night on the north side. Chicago police tell us they found a 26-year-old man sitting in the street with gunshot wounds to the shoulder and neck in the 5400 block of North Ashland. Inside of his car in a nearby alley, officers found a second man, roughly 21 years old, who had been shot in the head. He was pronounced dead on the scene. Bulls lost in New Orleans last night, 119-113. They host Atlanta tonight. College hoops, Fighting Illini blow out Indiana 94-69. DePaul nearly tripped up the number 7 team in the country, falling to Marquette in overtime, 85-83. 7:34, we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is honest with himself.
I hate how much I enjoyed watching Kamala Harris certify her own defeat. I'm not proud of myself. My wife used to say, Gallagher, you are a little man. And I am. I'm just petty. I'm petty and maybe mean-spirited.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Wow. Are you buying or are you selling? As this is being written, silver is up more than 50% in just the past 8 months. And gold is the highest it's ever been. Whether you are just getting into the metals, want to roll your IRA into silver or gold, or want to take some profits off the table, Fox Valley Coins is ready, willing, and able to help. Even though Fox Valley Coins is a national dealer, they're family-owned and in your own backyard. Fox Valley Coins in Naperville almost always has the product you want in stock and pretty much always has the best pricing when you buy or sell. Buying or selling is easy. Bring your items in. We'll establish the price and pay you cash or check on the spot. Why wait to move your assets around? Did you know that Fox Valley Coins has sold over 3,000 one-ounce silver Donald Trump coins? We have several designs, but they're going fast. Fox Valley Coins on Route 59 in Naperville. Family-owned integrity since 1981.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hi, I'm Michael Alfaro, host of The Michael Alfaro Show. Join me each week as we tackle the issues you want to know more about, like foreign and national policies, how big money influences Washington, D.C., and so much more. Learn firsthand from elected officials and political insiders about the important policy decisions changing our world. Find me at michaelalfaroshow.com and then join me, Michael Alfaro, every Saturday evening at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Salem News Channel is America's fastest growing conservative TV network.
It's an absolute crazy day.
Home to the largest lineup of free speech champions anywhere, delivering in-depth insight and unapologetic opinion on today's biggest news stories.
Americans aren't going to put up with this anymore.
SNC brings you the news that matters, told with integrity and clarity. Watch Salem News Channel free 24/7 on your television. Stream now on Samsung TV Plus, channel 1177.
7:38. Let's get an update on the roads. In our Team Hochberg Traffic Center, a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile or text the word app to 64636. Kennedy inbound, 1 hour, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike right now, it's an hour 7 into the old post office. Stevenson in 1 hour, 3:55 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. There's an accident, by the way, on the entrance ramp to the inbound Stevenson from Cicero this morning. And delays as you travel on the outbound Stevenson between the Chinatown feeder and the Dan Ryan merge. Stop and go on Lakeshore Drive southbound between Montrose and Fullerton. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now, your official Chicagoland weather forecast. Sunny and cold today, high 21. Mostly cloudy, flurries overnight, and rising temps, low 18. 5 above at O'Hare, 3 below in Aurora, 4 below in Kankakee, and 8 above along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. A bunch of more confirmation hearings kick off today. Kristi Noem for DHS, before Homeland Security, Pam Bondi for AG, before Judiciary, John Ratcliffe for CIA, before Intel, Sean Duffy for Transportation, before Commerce, and so on and so forth. But, of course, the one that all eyes are on, controversial, is budget bad boy Russell Vought.
Who?
Well, he was OMB for Trump 1.0. The Washington Post opposes Hegseth, Tulsi, RFK. You know, we've gotten a lot of ink spilled over them and their controversies and so forth, targeting by the left. And the fourth Trump nominee they oppose is Russ Vought for Office of Management and Budget.
Uh-oh.
Why?
What did he do?
He wants to rein in runaway federal spending. And you need somebody to actually be the mechanic here. It's one thing for politicians to say it, then somebody actually needs to be the implementation tool, and therein lies Russ Vought, who has incredible working knowledge of the federal government, which is something that was in short supply in Trump 1.0, very different this time around, including with all these political appointees. You saw this survey, about half of the federal bureaucrats say they will oppose Trump initiatives and do everything they can to slow walk it, wait them out. You know, what you always get from the bureaucracy, inertia's on their side. And that was impactful in 2017 when he took office the first time, because he didn't have enough inside guys in his office. It's great to bring guys in from the outside for your cabinet, but you need some inside guys inside the office who actually know the machinery of the federal government and who's hiding where, and you have enough people to fill the couple thousand political appointments that the president gets to make. That's not a problem this time around. It was last time around. Big difference. But I just love the idea that Russell Vought, budget bad boy, controversial nominee. For more on this, pleased to be joined by economist and author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, who he co-authored with Art Laffer. That is Steve Moore. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hi, guys. By the way, I know Russ very well. He's been a longtime friend and super guy. I mean, he knows the budget inside and out. He is somebody who will come in on day one and attack this $2 trillion deficit. And everyone knows that this is a cancer cell in our society, this massive, massive debt. And that's what's really making the left angry is the fact that he knows where the bodies are buried in the government. He knows how to trim spending, and he'll come up with hundreds of billions of dollars of savings, but that is making the left hyperventilate. One of the things, Dan, that has really angered the Democrats is that what Russ Vought wants to do is to impound funds. In other words, if you've got $1 trillion allocated to stupid green energy programs that aren't having any impact, and the money's been authorized by Congress but hasn't been spent, he's saying, okay, let's claw that money back and save that money because you know what, we can't afford to keep on this path we're on, and that explains why he's getting this being excoriated by the press right now, because they don't want to cut the budget. They don't want him to save money.
Well, right. I mean, thus he gets thrown in with the more quote unquote controversial nominees. I just find that fascinating. It really tells you just how embedded the D.C. press corps is with the big spenders in D.C. They're in service to the way things are.
Well, this issue of empowerment is a really interesting one because every president, I've been arguing for 30 years that we should restore the empowerment power to the president. This is a power that every president, going back to Thomas Jefferson through Richard Nixon, had. Franklin Roosevelt, a Democrat, used the empowerment power more than just about any other president. Because when Congress authorized money, and yet they don't need to spend all the money, what would any CEO do? He would say, oh, well, we've already allocated the money. We might as well just spend it. That's the attitude of Washington. If something ends up costing half as much as we thought it would cost, we're just going to spend 100% anyway. And so what empowerment says is we're not going to spend this money because we don't need to. And the Congress took that power away from the president. And what Russ is saying, no, this is an important power for our fiscal controls to make sure that we can pay our bills. And I'm with him on that.
Me too. Your guy, Scott Bessent, he'll be before the Finance Committee, Trump's nominee for Treasury Secretary. Gerard Baker did a write-up on him over at the Journal and talked about his 3-3-3 plan, sustained growth of 3% GDP, a federal fiscal deficit no more than 3% of GDP, and increased domestic oil production by 3 million barrels a day, which is about a little over 20%. What do you think of the 3-3-3 from Bessent?
Well, I helped him with that. We worked with him on that idea, and it's absolutely all of those are achievable goals. They're not pie in the sky. We can easily produce 3 million more barrels a day. And by the way, with oil right now at $75 a barrel, that's $225 million a day that we would increase our output by, and that would be less money that we'd have to send to Saudi Arabia and OPEC and Iran and Russia. So that makes a huge amount of sense. The second thing is we can achieve 3% growth. In fact, the growth rate for the U.S. economy for the last 100 years has averaged 3% growth. So it's a good goal to get. And if you get 3% growth, you start really making great dents in the budget deficit because you create a lot of revenue. And reducing the deficit to 3% of GDP, absolutely. I mean, we should reduce the deficit to 0% of GDP, in my opinion.
Exactly.
But getting to 3% is certainly an attainable goal. And so, yeah, I'm totally with him on that. And I think within 2 or 3 years, he could do it.
Well, if you need help with the 3 million more barrels of oil a day, you just call Billy Bob Thornton down in Midland.
Landman.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I've been watching that show, Landman, and he gives these speeches that are really amazing.
Awesome.
Just explaining to people that, we need oil, we need gas, or nothing else functions in the American economy. If you want to shut down all economic activity, if you want the lights to go out, sure, we can go with green energy. But it's an amazing show called Landman. I forget what channel that is on, but
Paramount
it
Plus.
is Paramount. Do you watch it?
Oh yeah. And I love the last episode, spoiler alert, when they're talking about
Oh,
fracking.
good. I haven't seen the last
Well,
episode.
you'll learn a lot about fracking, okay? And it doesn't cause natural disasters.
Oh, yes.
And then if you watch the daughter and her quarterback boyfriend, you'll learn more about fracking.
No.
Hi-oh.
This is a PG show.
Oh, wait till you see what they do to the old people at the old people's home.
Yeah.
Those fun field trips they take. We didn't do that at the Swedish retirement home when I volunteered there, I can tell you that much.
Less exciting than...
We played bingo, and I did make them watch Kingpin.
It's very refreshing to actually have a show that, almost every other show is like, oh, we got to get rid of oil and gas. It's the worst thing, and it's polluting the environment. And now you have a show that actually, explains to people why we have oil and gas, because without it, the economy shuts down. And, it's, by the way, it's in the teens here in Washington, D.C. today. It's really cold. And I got up this morning and, it's like 40 degrees in the house. And I'm like, thank God we have a heater, a gas heater that we can turn on. But if Biden had been reelected, those gas heaters would probably be banned, because those are awful machines. So.
Well, and fossil fuels also necessary to produce, I don't know, like the firefighting equipment that they need out there in California, for example. I mean, we've talked before about, all the products that are petroleum-based that people don't appreciate.
I have no idea.
By the way, we have a story today in our hotline. You haven't seen it because you haven't gotten it yet. But we just sent it out. But now, about almost half of the firefighting that's going on by these heroic firefighters, getting right in the face of these horrible fires, about half of them are private firefighters. Did you know that, Dan and Amy?
Yeah.
They're not public. And the unions are absolutely going crazy, saying, oh, my gosh, how dare we have private firefighters helping us put out these fires? As if, and this is their idea of fairness. If the guy's house down the street burns down, then it's only fair that every house has to burn down.
Equity.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Equal outcomes. I wanted to get one more insight from you, if you're able to divulge, and that is, so when are we going to see the 2017 tax cut plan re-up presented?
Oh, geez. It's going to be quite a political football. My goal, and we're leading kind of the outside effort to get, the coalition to get this done. The goal is to get this done by Memorial Day. We don't want it delayed. This has to get done. I want to make sure that your listeners understand that doing nothing is not an option, because if Congress does nothing and doesn't get a bill passed, then the average family and the average person listening to this show, your taxes are going to go up by $3,000 a year. And that's whether you're rich or you're middle class. Well, now, if you're poor and don't pay any taxes, you won't see a tax increase. But your tax bill is going to go up. So that's because the Trump tax cuts automatically expire at the end of this year. So we've got to get this done. It's a high priority for Trump. And, it worked. We grew the economy. The things went really well when we did it. By the way, revenues, the problem is not revenues, by the way. Revenues have been up substantially the last 5 years, but the spending keeps going up. And I don't know if you saw, Dan, in our hotline yesterday that that we're 3 months into the fiscal year now. So the fiscal year for 2025 started on October 1st. So we have 3 months worth of data. And the Congressional Budget Office just came out with a report 2 days ago that shows federal spending is up $200 billion more over those 3 months than it was last year. $200 billion. If we keep on that path, we're going to have a $2.5 trillion deficit this year. So Trump is not. I'm so sick and tired of Joe Biden saying, I'm handing off to Donald Trump a very healthy economy. No, he's not. No, he's not. By the way, the inflation numbers came out this morning. We're back at 3% and going higher. So this is a big mess that Trump is inheriting, and it's going to take a lot of work to get us back online and back on the path to prosperity.
He is Steve Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with the great Art Laffer. Steve, thank you as always.
Okay, guys, I hope come out for the inauguration, but bundle up. It's going to be really cold out, but it's an historic day. Monday, January 20th, we have a new president, and then we take Joe Biden off to is he going to go to the nursing home? Where is he headed?
Midland, Texas. Yeah.
He's going to that nursing home because he knows they have fun field trips.
Yeah, right.
Is what he's going to do if he's a smart man. All right, thanks, Stephen Moore, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hey, AM 560 homeowners, are you tired of all the money and repairs going into your house? Need an easy solution to convert your home into cash? This is Jeff from jeffbuysyourhouse.com. For nearly 20 years, our trusted, proven, and professional team has been simplifying the home selling process in Chicagoland. Here's the deal. You are in control. Pick the closing date that works best for you. No need to worry about repairs or any cleanout. We will buy your house as is, saving you frustration, time, and money. That's right, a fair cash offer within 24 hours, and we actually buy your house. No funny business. With our simple process, there are no fees and no commissions. You can trust our proven, professional, and credible service. Our local, high-integrity, and veteran-owned team will go above and beyond to make it stress-free. Sound interesting? Sell your house to the trusted source by calling us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
Guys, it's New Year and time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. Don't put it off. Get tested in January. If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test. And with their on-site lab, you get your results back right there. Low T Center, not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each patient. Their personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. They're not just basic standard treatments. For current patients, Low T Center offers you a $150 referral credit for each new patient you refer. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best. Visit lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Can't get enough of Retirement and Income Radio with Mark Kohler Sunday mornings at 11? Then tune in at his new time, Saturday afternoons at 3 to learn how you can lock in your gains, take care of your estate planning, and bring peace of mind, knowing your income is guaranteed for life. To learn more, call Mark today at 844-619-SAFE. That's 844-619-SAFE. And listen to Retirement and Income Radio with Mark Kohler Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
Well, it was during a 10, 12-inch snowstorm, and we probably shouldn't have been delivering, but we were delivering.
Ben and Arvid Huth from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
And they get to the end of the driveway, and it's a long driveway, like a quarter mile long, and it has been plowed. So what they did was they carried that table a quarter mile to the house, delivered it through 10 inches of snow, and then carried the old table, customer's old table, a quarter mile back to the truck. That is just doing whatever it takes to get it done. Yep.
See more at pennymustard.com.
Oh, I can't wait to take it. I'm going to take it at 8 o'clock today. That's my Balance of Nature. 6 capsules of Balance of Nature supplements provides your body, heart, and mind with several servings of 31 different fruits and vegetables. And I love the fruit capsules because if you have a sweet tooth, you can just chew on one of those and voila, it's all good. Use the promo code Chicago to get 35% off your order of fruits and veggies. They've been a proud sponsor of this station for 10 years, don't you know? And I've been taking Balance of Nature for about that time, and I don't want to live without it. Balance of Nature. Go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to use discount code Chicago.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you'll destroy your life. Listen to The Flot Line with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7. The Flot Line describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Listen this Sunday for inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flot Line with Rick Hughes this Sunday morning at 7 on AM 560. The Answer.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
After 30 years of doing knee and hip replacements, Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup thought there had to be a better way, and that led him to regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it.
Now, after 20 years of successful orthobiologic treatments, lots of clinical data, research, and teaching, Dr. Scheinkup is National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
They've done an amazing job of becoming the most significant orthobiologic and regenerative medicine practice in the United States. QC is so far ahead of the game in its science, its protocols, its people, its facilities.
So if you have chronic pain from arthritis and you want to avoid drugs and surgery, call the experts in this revolutionary field, QC Kinetics.
To give patients real lasting relief from pain, that's what I live for. That's my mission.
Get your free consultation now. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
AM 560. The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:08, you remember when Wisconsin Democrats abdicated Madison and came to Rockford to try to stall Scott Walker's budget repair bill?
Yeah, they're trying to hide. I remember that.
We have something similar going on in Minnesota right now.
Ooh.
Constitutional crisis. I'm sure it's nothing Field Marshal Tim can't handle. John Hindraker from Powerline Blog joins us at 8:08 to talk about that and a few other topics. That's 8:08.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
A ratings agency is downgrading Chicago's credit. The U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments in the appeal of Patrick Daley Thompson. CTU president apologizes for comparing the CPS CEO to a special ed student. Fighting Illini handle Indiana on the road easily, and the Bulls collapse against the Pelicans. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
They hope to implement the Trump agenda. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. 6 more. The president-elect's nominees have confirmation hearings today. First up this hour is pick for Attorney General Pam Bondi. Then, Secretary of State nominee Senator Marco Rubio and John Ratcliffe, who's in line to lead the CIA.
As the chairman of the Intelligence Committee, I'll preside over John's hearing this morning.
Republican Senator Tom Cotton tells Fox.
He's been the director of national intelligence. He and I agree that the CIA is vital for our country, but we have to get it back to its roots. It's simply not doing a good enough job collecting intelligence about our adversaries around the world.
Also today, confirmation hearings for Trump's nominees to lead the Energy and Transportation Departments in the Office of Management and Budget. Tonight, 5 days before he leaves office, President Biden will talk to us on TV, 8 p.m. Eastern. After Fox's Peter Ducey reports from the White House, they released
a letter from President Biden. It's not addressed to anyone, but it's written in his voice with things like this. It has been the privilege of my life to serve this nation for over 50 years. Nowhere else on earth could a kid with a stutter from modest beginnings in Scranton, Pennsylvania and Claymont, Delaware one day sit behind the resolute desk in the Oval Office as President of the United States.
There are a lot of nervous people in the Los Angeles area fearing wildfire flames will spread.
The National Weather Service calling this a PDS, a particularly dangerous situation with winds between 45 to 70 miles per hour. There are a lot of firefighters on the ground right now, about 15,000 fire personnel from across the western U.S. as well as Canada and Mexico.
Fox Business's Max Gordon surrounded by wildfire ruins in Malibu. More than 12,000 houses and buildings have burned, 24 deaths confirmed. We just got an inflation update for consumer prices that are rising.
0.4% month to month on the headline CPI. The street was looking for 0.3.
Fox Business Network Cheryl Casoni also reports the annual rate of inflation also rose back up again.
2.9% year over year. That is higher than a month ago.
America's listening to Fox News.
5 degrees above. We have clear skies and sunshine this morning at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. I'm Mike Scott. A person critically injured following a fire on the northwest side this morning. The flames broke out around 1 a.m. in the 2300 block of North Meade. A victim transported to Loyola University Medical Center in critical condition. A shooting in Andersonville left a man dead, another wounded. Late last night on Chicago's north side, Chicago police found a 26-year-old man sitting in the street suffering from a gunshot wound to the shoulder and neck in the 5400 block of North Ashland. Inside of his car in a nearby alley, officers found a second man who had been shot in the head and pronounced dead on the scene. Chicago's credit rating is down. S&P Global Ratings announcing the city's general obligation bond rating went from BBB plus to just BBB. The downgrade means the credit agency believes the city is more likely to default. Chicago sports. Bulls fell apart in the fourth quarter and lost to the Pelicans 119 to 115. College hoops, the Fighting Illini got off to a red-hot start and blow out Indiana 94-69. Illinois led 60-32 at halftime. Northern Illinois fell to Miami of Ohio last night, while Valparaiso lost to Belmont. The news a service of Balance of Nature, fruits and veggies in a capsule. Save 35% off your first preferred order with promo code Chicago. Order online at balanceofnature.com. Use that coupon code Chicago. Hurry, offer ends soon. 8:03, time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Taylor Riggs, and this is the Fox Business Report.
J.P. Morgan Chase is reporting a record profit for last year, and in the fourth quarter, its profit jumped 50%. CEO Jamie Dimon cites low unemployment and healthy consumer spending. He says businesses are more optimistic about the economy, though the risks he cites are government spending, inflation, and geopolitical conditions. Wells Fargo also reported upbeat earnings for the fourth quarter. It was helped by stronger investment banking. Bank of New York Mellon says its earnings jumped 27% in the recent quarter. It earned higher investment fees, helped by the market rally resulting from the Fed's interest rate cuts and the election of President Trump, who's promised lower taxes and less regulation. Wall Street will be reacting today to the Consumer Price Index reading for December. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosolda, invested in you.
AM 560 News Time, 8:05. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Larry Elder believes this could be just the start.
Last 4 years, minimum of 10, maybe 12 million illegal aliens in this country, unvetted, from virtually every single country in the world. Hundreds have been intercepted who are on the terror watch list, and those are the ones that we caught. The FBI has investigations into domestic terrorism in every one of the 50 states. And the fact that this doesn't happen more often, to me, is mind-boggling.
The Larry Elder Show, weeknights at 8, right before Sean Hannity at 10 on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. Your business and your money are in good hands with Signature Bank. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Jason Zenger, owner of Zenger's Industrial Supply and host of the Making Chips podcast, and a proud customer of Signature Bank. Through rapid growth, acquisitions of competitors, and taking over from the previous generation, Signature Bank was there with us every step of the way. Recently, the team introduced us to FinRails AP, their proprietary system for accounts payable automation. Not only did FinRails AP help us to reduce costs and create efficiencies, but it also helped minimize fraud risk. Now, our company can invest time into what we do best, supplying industrial products, metalworking tooling, contractor tools, and safety supplies to those who make, build, and create great things for our country.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Let Signature Bank turn your business vision into reality. Visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Well, it was during a 10, 12-inch snowstorm, and we probably shouldn't have been delivering, but we were delivering.
Ben and Arvid Huth, brothers and owners of Penny Mustard Furnishings.
And they get to the end of the driveway, and it's a long driveway, like a quarter mile long, and it has been plowed. And the UPS guy was stuck halfway between them and the house. You can't see the house from the road. They can't pass this UPS guy with their truck. They're going to get stuck. So,
and what would have 99 out of 100 people done? And skip that delivery and call a customer and say, I can't deliver it.
Yeah.
Not these guys.
Yeah. So what they did was they carried that table a quarter mile to the house, delivered it through 10 inches of snow, and then carried the old table, customer's old table, a quarter mile back to the truck.
That is just doing whatever it takes to get it done.
Yep.
As much as that's customer service, because the customer was happy that we got done, that's just service to us. That's service to all the other employees that we just got the extra work done.
Yep.
See more at pennymustard.com.
When you hear the term living better, what do you think about? More money? A bigger house? Maybe a yacht? What about how you feel physically? How you wake up each day? How you sleep? What activities you can and cannot do? When you feel good, life is good. So if pain is affecting your life, see how Relief Factor can help. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that fights pain naturally. Developed by doctors, it doesn't just mask pain temporarily, it helps reduce or even eliminate pain. In fact, the longer you take it, the more effective it is. So give their 3-week quick start a try. It's only $19.95, less than $1 a day. And it just takes a phone call, 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Wherever you're hurting, in 3 weeks or even days, Relief Factor can give you a chance to rediscover the true meaning of living better again. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4-RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
8:08. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is the service of Low T Center. If you're not feeling that same energy anymore, testosterone therapy or TRT may be the answer. Look for personalized treatment like you'll get with the TRT experts at Low T Center, lowtcenter.com. Kennedy on the inbound side right now, an hour 14 into the Burns Circle interchange. You've got an accident on the exit ramp. Inbound, it's the off-ramp to Diversey that's bottled up with the accident. On the Ike this morning, an accident center lane blocked between Des Plaines and Independence. And on the Stevenson, there's an accident on the inbound on-ramp from Cicero. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast with Steve Williams.
Cold day today, sunny to partly cloudy with a high at 21. Clouds and flurries around from late evening on tonight. Low 18, temperatures rising into the 20s for the overnight. Clouds breezy, not as cold tomorrow, the high at 35. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Sunshine and 5 above right now at O'Hare. Next news 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Everybody's coming out of the woodwork now.
Yeah.
Remember Access Hollywood's Billy Bush and the famous Billy Bush Donald Trump tape that everyone thought just about everyone thought would derail his 2016 candidacy.
Well, I remember it well because that producer held that tape for 11 years in their locker.
Well, Billy Bush is giving us color on what went down when that tape came out. 8 years later, he sat down with Tucker Carlson to talk about it. Interesting. Some of what he discloses is not a surprise, but it's always fun to get the details from the inside.
Context. You said this was the beginning of Trump derangement syndrome. Did you sense that at NBC?
Oh, God. Absolutely. I mean, anything. Remember this, over at ABC News, they did, at the same time, when Trump became president, they built a 75-person investigative unit. I know the guy who was head of it, dedicated to anything negative on Trump. Find stuff on him and get him out. This is not journalism. This is not news. It is activism. When you're calling journalism, it's total activism.
What do you think that
all
was?
The major networks. That's why, by the way, when NBC does the shitty thing that they did, ABC and CBS don't call it out. They don't say,
of course,
hey, what, you're competing with each other. I would want to pound my competitor.
Yeah.
Be like, look what you did. That was dirty. Because all of them would have done it too, probably. You know what I mean?
What do you think?
They all shared that mission.
I mean,
and Zucker then became, years later, the head of the resistance. The guy that built him then became the head of the resistance at CNN.
It's amazing.
It's amazing in a matter of 10 years. Like this recording of this bus tape that was I would have been fired. It had leaked out then for hurting the star. 11 years later, and a lawsuit over Miss Universe and whatever else, NBC feels completely differently about Donald Trump, and now it's get him at all costs. Get him out of this presidential race at all costs. I don't care who we have to kill or shoot in the head on the way, including Billy Bush, no problem. Get rid of him. So it's
an incredible...
what a courageous guy. He had to do that. We'll give him a pass because, look, he brought forward this beautiful thing that will take out the enemy.
Because he's screwing Trump.
Because he's screwing Trump. And in the end, this is the very beginning of Trump derangement syndrome. No matter what, screwing Trump is paramount above everything else.
Yes.
So I would have gotten the pass from the media. Trump is, it's like country music. Love him or hate him, right? I mean.
So what was that? So you move over, and that I just want to say this for the third time. That tape after you spoke to Rob about it, to your EP about it, the next day was never mentioned again for 11 years.
No.
Right. 75-person investigative unit over at ABC News to get Trump. I thought that's what the FBI was for. John Hindraker is president of the Center of the American Experiment, contributor to Powerline blog, powerlineblog.com. He joins us now. John, thanks for being with us again. Appreciate it.
Hey, great to be with you, Dan.
As I said, none of that is particularly surprising, but the scale and the detail is always interesting. 75-person investigative unit at ABC News to get Trump while they, have their Sunday talk shows where they pretend to be, even-handed and approach these issues with equanimity because they, like the politicians they flack for, are just interested in protecting our democracy, don't you know?
Yeah, well, of course, the FBI had its own investigative unit trying to get Trump. ABC had plenty of company in that effort. I don't know, Dan. I mean, I don't think they're fooling anyone anymore. I think they're constantly frustrated that they have these great bombshells and they turn out to be duds. And a lot of it, of course, is directed against Trump, but not all of it. I think you see this really across the board where people just don't care anymore what those so-called journalists are saying.
Yeah. What do you think the posture of the Trump administration, the Republican Party, should be with respect to, they call them corporate media, but it's really with respect to the communication shop of the opposition party, which is what the D.C. press corps actually is?
Well, I think they got to be uncompromising. I think that's one of the reasons why people like Trump. He called them out, called them fake news, has denounced them really from the beginning of his entering public life in 2015. And I think that's one of the fundamental things that made him popular with conservatives 9 years ago. And I think they need to keep that up. I think they need to have a press secretary who will be firm and will characterize the questions for what they are and so forth.
Wanted to get to this local story because it's another branding exercise for the Democrat socialist brand in the Midwest. The story of this constitutional crisis in Minnesota that you write about, which calls to mind, as I mentioned before you joined us, calls to mind when Wisconsin Democrats abdicated Madison and came down to Rockford, Illinois to hide out from Scott Walker when he was elected and trying to pass a budget repair bill. Something similar is going on in Minnesota.
Yeah, the Democrats are basically trying to pull an illegal coup to seize control of the Minnesota House of Representatives. I'll try to tell this story briefly, but there's 134 Minnesota House districts, and in the last election, the Republicans gained 4 seats, so it looked like it was going to be tied 67-67. But then it turned out that one of the Democrats cheated. Constitutionally in Minnesota, you have to live in the district where you run for at least 6 months before the election. Well, this guy rented an apartment, but he never even turned on the electricity, and there was the election contest. He lost, and the judge actually enjoined him from trying to seek a seat in the Minnesota legislature. So there are only 66 Democrats, not 67, and there's going to be a special election at some point here this winter to fill that seat. But meantime, there's 133 members of the Minnesota House, and 67 of them are Republicans. So the 2025 session began at noon yesterday, and the 66 Democrats boycotted it. They didn't show up. They're taking the position that there's not a quorum. And there is under Minnesota law. I think it's perfectly clear that the majority of the members, is 67, is a quorum. They are hiding out. Last Sunday afternoon, they gathered at the Minnesota Historical Society. Who knows why? And a retired Democratic judge purported to swear them in as House members, and apparently they're going to try to get paid based on that completely
Well, of course you got to get paid.
ceremony.
Of course.
Yeah, right. And the completely fake ceremony with zero legal significance. And so yesterday, the Democratic Secretary of State, who had written an 8-page memo saying that he thinks you need 68 votes for a quorum, not 67, which is absolutely bogus under Minnesota law. He's got the ceremonial duty of opening the session in the House of Representatives. The Lieutenant Governor does it in the Senate, the Secretary of State in the House. So he opens the session and says, we don't have a quorum, and he tries to adjourn it. And the Republicans stand up and say, no, wait. And the majority leader takes the gavel, and they declare that they've got a quorum. They do the count, and they elect a Speaker of the House, who, of course, is a Republican, 67-0, and they start conducting business. And so we have this incredible situation where they're now starting to have committee hearings. One of my policy fellows is testifying in the Public Safety Committee of the Minnesota House later today, and the Democrats are staying away, hoping that at some point they can try to vindicate the legal theory that there's not a quorum. But it's very much like when the Democrats fled from Wisconsin to Illinois some years ago.
Are reporters chasing these people down or trying to see where they're hiding?
Reporters are running interference for them. It's the same thing we've been talking about. Actually, in the Minneapolis Star, or announced the Minnesota Star Tribune, which is the dominant newspaper in the state, you got to look down below the fold to even see that any of this is going on. It's very
it's not
hard.
The headline news there?
It should be. It's very hard to spin not showing up for work as a good thing. So my organization has got a campaign going. We're getting thousands of emails sent to these people, demanding that they do their jobs, go to work.
Are they caucusing at Tim Walz's house, or where are they now?
Well, Tim Walz is in this too. It's an all Democratic Party conspiracy. Tim Walz, when this guy got caught not living in the district, they want to have that special election as soon as possible. Tim Walz issued a completely illegal order, absolutely wrong under Minnesota law for at least 2 reasons, scheduling that special election for January 28th. And that issue is being argued in the Minnesota Supreme Court this morning. Now, the Minnesota Supreme Court does not have a single Republican on it, so it'll be interesting to see, how that turns out.
I love this. A quorum means a majority. Well, when we're in the minority by one, it means a majority plus another one. They just make it up as they go along. It sounds like the same thing that Walz is doing, not surprisingly, with the special election. And but I got to say, something that's probably surprising and at the same time encouraging to Illinoisans listening to the program is, boy, Minnesota. I mean, even if it was 67-67, we're in the super minority in both the House and the Senate in Illinois. I know you got Tim Walz and you got some goofy senators, but that you're that close to Republic being at least a purple state and not a blue state anymore in Minnesota.
Legislatively, we're right on a knife's edge. The Senate is 34-33 Democrat, but one of the Democratic senators is going on trial for first-degree burglary in 11 days.
Of course he is.
You can't make this stuff up, right?
Yeah.
But the good news, Dan, is the Republicans are standing firm. 20, 30 years ago, Republicans probably would have caved. They would have negotiated all night, agreed to a power-sharing arrangement of some kind and gotten basically snookered. But not this time. The Minnesota House Republicans are absolutely standing firm. They're united, and they've got a lot of support behind them. It's something that we Republicans are not used to always seeing.
Well, very encouraging. Wild story. We're going to have to follow that. Follow it at powerlineblog.com. John Hindraker, president of the Center of the American Experiment, and a contributor to that blog, powerlineblog.com. John, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
Great to be with you, Dan.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Did the Protestant Reformation suffer a premature death? Absolutely, argues the riveting book, Reviving the Reformation by Dr. Daniel Lang. The book of Acts chapter 21 verse 20 reports that myriads or tens of thousands of Jewish believers dwelled in Jerusalem, and they were all zealous for the Torah. Their leaders were guiding the early Messianic faith. 40 years after the death of Jesus, however, the Jews revolted against Rome. This rebellion caused a Roman hammer to crush Israel, destroying the temple and Jerusalem. Following this devastation, the leadership of the Jerusalem church fell into other hands. Reviving the Reformation recovers the lost first-century Messianic faith. It answers the most difficult questions that some dare not ask about traditional Christianity. Buy Reviving the Reformation on Amazon. For a deep discount, purchase the book securely from the author at revivingthereformation.com. That's revivingthereformation.com. And like Reviving the Reformation on Facebook. With biblical faith fading fast in Western culture, now is the time to restore the truth by reviving the Reformation.
It's a new year, but the need continues. Hi, Amy Jacobson here to let you know that you could still be part of our annual Food for the Poor campaign. We are working to provide food for a year and access to water to children in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we need you to help us reach our goal. We are so close, especially if you own or run a business or make the marketing decisions for a business. You can still become a business benefactor by making a tax-deductible gift of $2,500 to Food for the Poor. That gift will feed 50 children for all of 2025, and to show our appreciation for your generosity, AM 560 will give you 40 one-minute commercials to air right here on this station between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday through Friday at no additional cost to you. To take advantage of this amazing deal, just call Anjanette Natowski at 847-472-8951. Again, 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/foodforthepoor.
There is a place in northern Illinois that people have come from all around the globe seeking treasure.
It's amazing. I didn't know what to expect, but when I got there, I was surrounded by all kinds of gold and silver.
An actual place where you're surrounded by treasure?
I've known that gold and silver were a good investment, but I really didn't want to buy it through the mail. At Fox Valley Coins, I basically walked in, picked out what I wanted, paid cash, and walked out with gold and silver.
Walk in with paper and walk out with actual gold and silver bars. For decades, Fox Valley Coins has traded paper dollars for actual gold and silver. They buy and sell. The treasure map is available at foxvalleycoins.com. They are on Route 59, 1 light north of I-88 in Naperville, Illinois. Again, for info and the map, seek foxvalleycoins.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
So when we saw the advertisements for this by reputable people, I told my husband, I said, well, we don't have anything to lose, so let's do it. Within a month, I could see a difference. It's really great. Y'all should let me do those commercials. Do you know how many people I have gotten to take Balance of Nature?
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
You said bye-bye to big government. Now it's time to trim the fat from big wireless. Pure Talk gives you the exact same service. They use the same cell towers, the same 5G network. You get better customer service, and you pay half the price for the exact same thing. Get unlimited talk, text, 15 gigs of data with mobile hotspot for just $35 a month. Make the switch. You simply dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, save an additional 50% off your first month. Pure Talk, America's wireless company.
The new year means new health goals, not just for your body, but your finances too. Your personal info is in so many places that are outside of your control. It only takes one mistake, and not even your mistake, to expose you to identity theft and lost funds. If your identity's stolen, LifeLock's restoration specialist will fix it, guaranteed, or your subscription money back, and resolve to make identity, health, and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Visit LifeLock.com and save up to 40% off your first year with promo code CLAY. Terms apply.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
AM 560.
The Answer.
Dan and Amy, okay, I'm going to crowdsource the naming of a new segment we want to do.
What's that?
So we need a theme song, need some lyrics.
Well, we need Justin for that. I mean, he'll voice it, but we need help composing it, is what you're saying.
We want to. I'm going with the flatliner of the week, but remember the movie Flatliners with Julia Roberts, Kiefer Sutherland, right? So there's no brain activity. There's just political cant that is oozing from the orifices of somebody who is no longer with us, but they don't know it. So maybe Flatliner of the week, but I'm open-minded on the title of the segment, as well as all of the associated marketing. All right, so think about it. Okay. Give us a text or a call. But for this initial soft launch, I'll just present for consideration Lizzie Chadbourne. Lizzie has a master's degree in public health. You know how I know?
Oh.
Because on her social media account, it's Lizzie Chadbourne, MPH.
Okay.
Of course, that's how I know.
Yes,
of course, this is what they do. She has a comment about the California wildfires situation there. Can't stop thinking about people from L.A. with abortion appointments or traveling to L.A. for abortion care from highly restricted states, only to find they can't get the care they need because there are clinics in evacuation zones. Abortion is always time-sensitive, and costs increase with time. Lizzie Chadbourne, MPH, your flatliner of the week.
I'm not worried about the 37 people who are still missing, the 25 confirmed dead by the medical examiner. Okay.
Is abortion only available in California? Anyway, I digress. If that statement needs to be explained to you, those comments from Lizzie Chadbourne, MPH, need to be explained to you, then perhaps you have also ceased to be with us.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 8:38, speaking of political cant, climate cant, we'll discuss with author Lionel Shriver, 8:38.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Sunshine and 5 above at 8:31. In California, high winds are in the forecast as LA firefighters continue battling devastating blazes there that have killed at least 25.
On Tuesday, officials confirmed yet another person was killed in the Eaton fire, which has burned over 14,000 acres across Altadena and Pasadena. 16 others lost their lives to the Eaton fire, and 8 have died in the Palisades fire. Search teams have been combing through thousands of acres trying to assess the damage in areas where the fires have died out. A new round of powerful dry winds here in California isn't making things any easier for the firefighters. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Russia is being accused of plotting acts of terror against airlines across the world. It's a developing story. We hear from Fox's Jonathan Savage.
Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk won't go into details, but says fears that Russia's been planning terrorist attacks against airlines are valid. Tusk was talking alongside Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Western security officials suspect Russian intelligence plotted to put incendiary devices in packages on North America-bound cargo planes. One caught fire at a courier hub in Germany, another ignited at a warehouse in England. The Kremlin's dismissed the allegations. The Polish government also believes Russia's pursuing acts of hybrid war against Ukraine's Western allies. Jonathan Savage, Fox News.
More confirmation hearings will be held on Capitol Hill today for Donald Trump's cabinet picks. First up, former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, Trump's pick for U.S. Attorney General. Later, Senator Marco Rubio as the nominee for Secretary of State. Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton this morning.
I think what Marco will lay out today is President Trump's plan to put America first, to make sure that we're advancing the interests of our own citizen and our own economy, not those of other countries. We wish every country well, but we obviously have to put our own citizens first.
The hearing is expected to begin in 30 minutes. The Biden administration this morning says it's removing Cuba from its list of state sponsors of terror. The Republican-led House has passed a bill that would ban transgender athletes from playing women's and girls' sports in schools that get federal funding. The Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act passed mainly along party lines. A person critically injured from a fire on the Northwest Side. It happened this morning around 1 a.m. in the 2300 block of North Meade. A shooting in Andersonville left a man dead and another wounded Tuesday night on Chicago's north side. A Chicago man is accused of sexually assaulting a developmentally disabled woman who became pregnant at a nursing facility in Geneva and is pleading guilty to aggravated criminal sexual assault. Isaiah Fields, according to prosecutors, assaulted the victim at the Markland Hines Center in 2023. He faces up to 30 years in prison. Bulls lost to the Pelicans last night. Fighting Illini, a Big Ten basketball win over Indiana. DePaul lost in the Big East for the 39th straight time. Almost tripped up the number 7 team in the country, falling to Marquette in overtime, 85-83. The news service of the Quick Delivery Service. Make Quick Delivery Service your personal ground crew anytime, anywhere, any place. When you need to move your shipment or freight, Quick Delivery will get it there. Get a quote in advance and eliminate surprises at quickdelivery.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Make sure that you never miss a day of Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson when you subscribe to the Chicago's Morning Answer podcast, presented by Signature Bank. Listen to the entire show each day on demand with limited commercial breaks. You can subscribe today for free at 560theanswer.com and click on podcasts or search for Chicago's Morning Answer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
This is Seth Leibson for townhall.com. As Donald Trump is about to resume his presidency, the most fundamental of questions about government arises. Will the government be competent? Bad ideologies affect competence, and at the end of the day, one must ask, does it work, rather than does it sound nice, or will it please a certain constituency? The Biden failures driven by bad ideologies are, of course, legion, from public safety to the border to the international arena to the cost of living. But let us not ignore the states either. Try this on for size. The budget for the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection is approaching $4 billion. That's less than is spent on the homeless problem in California, $24 billion over the last 5 years. Meanwhile, the homeless population in California, for all that money, has risen by tens of thousands, just as the problem with fires has risen. Bad ideologies drive incompetence. If the measuring stick is results rather than verbiage, may we finally learn this lesson, please.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter, but it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. It leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
8:37. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, and this update is a service of Discover. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. So maybe it's time to face facts you're stuck in the past based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. Learn more, discover.com/credit card. North Side, report of a structure fire. Lots of emergency equipment on the scene. Damon and Ravenswood. An accident in Mundelein, Route 176 and Lake Street. And cleanup continues at an accident site in Darien, Plainfield Road, and Clarendon Hills Road. Clearing a disabled vehicle on the Tri-State northbound this morning, right at Willow Road. And delays this morning on I-57 with an accident inbound at 175th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Mostly sunny and cold in your forecast. A high of 21. Cloudy, couple of flurries and rising temps overnight with a low of 18. Right now 5 at O'Hare, 6 at Midway, 4 below in Aurora, 6 below in Kankakee, and 8 above along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Really good piece by Holman Jenkins in the Wall Street Journal. Has been writing about climate policy for many, many moons. And he just starts with some basic things you need to understand if you want to have an informed discussion about climate policy and, by extension, water and land management, as we've been having over the last week per the terrible wildfires in California. Just the basics. Something that will come as a shock, as he writes, to many California residents, as well as many Illinois residents. Carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere is rapidly and for all practical purposes uniformly distributed around the planet. Voters and even political leaders surprisingly poor informed on this point. Emission cuts in California don't have a significant effect on California's climate. They also have no global effect. California cuts are too small relative to the global whole. They're also largely illusory. Emitting industries leave the state. They don't stop emitting. If California imports Canadian hydro to charge its electric vehicles, consumers elsewhere have to burn more coal and gas. If Californians drive EVs, more gasoline is free to be burned by others, releasing more carbon dioxide that influences climate change in California and everywhere else. And he points to a number of studies, including in what I would say now formally respected journals like Science, that draw conclusions averse to their political interests. So it's worth noting that all these green energy policies are supposed to reduce emissions. They don't. They don't. This is a key point. He goes on to provide this example. CNN moderator Saturday urged viewers to vote in an online poll on whether the California disaster should be blamed on climate change or poor leadership. Note the non sequitur, as if climate change is an excuse for not acting against fire risk, right, as it's an either or. But by all means, let politicians proclaim a climate crisis or any other rhetorical flourish if it helps mobilize support for public actions that actually serve a useful purpose. But a pre-revolutionary situation has been building in California for 2 decades, starting with the third world blackouts in late 2000, not because of any shortage of power, but because of large helpings of political cowardice. Recall the recall of Gray Davis that gave you Arnold Schwarzenegger for a time. And that was based on energy failures in California. Been building for a long time. And he talks about reforms that would greatly improve the situation rather than to pile on more central planning in response to the central planning failures, talking about functioning markets in both insurance and water. But do check out that piece. It's very good, and it's a nice segue to a conversation with our friend Lionel Shriver, best-selling author of many books, most recently Mania, a novel. Lionel, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
It's always a pleasure.
Well, you are writing about this too, the shrieking, as the title of your piece in The Spectator reads, shrieking about a quote-unquote climate emergency. We need to take stock of what we do and don't understand about these policies and their impacts and what's feasible in a world of trade-offs.
Yes, I just sat down and wrote a list of all the reasons I find the entire climate change paradigm suspicious. And the leading reason is that it is classic of our time to put humans in control of everything. It's a kind of vanity. It's a hubris that we take responsibility for everything that happens in our universe because we're at the center of it. It's almost like pre-Galileo thinking. Only it's so, we are all powerful. And I don't think so. In fact, California is a very good example of exactly how little power we have. Mm-hmm. Although, as Holman Jenkins observed, the powers that be in California have not been employing even the small amount of power they might have. And I just, furthermore, the science is far shakier than we're ever told. I think it is time for us to make it possible to question the whole ideology. And after all, one of the things that makes that ideology suspicious is that you're not supposed to be able to contest it. Now, that is itself suspicious. Why is it so hallowed that unlike every other scientific principle that we put to the test, that you can't touch it and you can't ever talk about, maybe we've got it wrong. But
well,
the stakes are huge.
It's funny you say that.
And, we're seeing that. We're seeing that in real time now. It's not theoretical. But we're seeing enormous economic devastation. For example, in Germany, coming to a country near you.
Well, it's the your spidey senses should be tingling when people say in science the debate is over. We had this very same conversation during COVID. Wait a second. When it comes to matters of science, the debate is never over. It is always testing and retesting to try to prove hypotheses or measure what you think is happening and your response to it and see if that's working. And it's not static. I mean, that's sort of the scientific method is sort of fundamental to science, and yet it's discarded for certain political reasons. We saw it in COVID, and we've seen it for a long time now with respect to climate, haven't we?
Yes, I mean, the whole notion of science being settled is a red flag. It means these people aren't real scientists, or they are scientists who have been co-opted by an ideology, either because they've bought into it in a religious spirit, or because their funding depends on it.
And it's something else you write in terms of this list you mentioned you penned about all the things that are problematic and explanatory at the same time. Climate alarmism appeals to young people's weakness, which is what?
I think we've given them a get-out-of-life free card. We're constantly hearing younger people claim that they don't want to have children because, with climate change, the world's going to end anyway, so they wouldn't want to bring children into such a world. Well, first off, I've never quite bought it. That's a virtuous sounding excuse for not raising a family, which after all is a lot of trouble, although it has many rewards. And it's a way of it's offering them an excuse for getting out of what is the ultimate in adulthood, which is bringing new people into the world and raising them to be decent human beings. We do have a low fertility problem in the U.S., and this climate scenario isn't helping. I think it plays to a certain laziness, and we're all capable of giving into laziness. It's seductive to do nothing rather than something. A great deal more trouble, but it's tempting younger generations to passivity, to doing nothing, to not having any ambition because there's no point. It's a very dark way of looking at the world. Because one of the other things that I find very striking about this whole movement is that it doesn't expect to succeed. So they're willing to inflict any number of not just inconveniences but catastrophes economically on the rest of us. But at the same time, this vision of the future as apocalyptic, as it's almost never described with any vividness. It's just this vague, dark, nothing destruction that awaits us all. But they don't expect that all of these new rules and regulations and the different cars you've got to use and the different heaters you've got to use and all the things you can't do anymore, even if they got us to stop flying anywhere for our holidays, they don't expect to succeed. And you can tell that because the solutions that they come up with are so impractical. I mean, they basically just don't work, even in their own terms.
Well, what are some of those solutions?
EVs do not break even on emissions until they've gone 50,000 miles. And when you add up everything, including the recycling that they don't know how to do, they may not save any emissions. But the people pushing this don't care. They don't care about what actually happens. They don't care about reality. They only care about their ideas and pushing other people around. And they're very odd on nuclear power, because if you're serious about restricting carbon emissions, nuclear power is absolutely the answer. It's carbon free, And you can run nuclear power plants, not based on the weather or whether the sun is shining, but they're really down on nuclear, and I think they're down on it because it works.
It's also very cheap intellectually in another way, isn't it? The idea of overcoming a threat that isn't real. If I throw some soup on a painting at the Louvre, if I super glue myself to the floor of a basketball game, or if I just parrot the rhetoric of the climate alarmists at a cocktail party in a wealthy suburb, then I'm a good person. It's easy to do. There's really no downside. There's no risk I'm taking. Other than maybe with law enforcement for some of these kooky people. But in terms of just adopting the posture like so many dilettantes in California do, there's no risk to it. And everybody can congratulate themselves and carry on living the way they were living, pre-adoption of this cultist attitude.
Oh, you're totally right. I mean, what motivates it is narcissism. It is all about the protester, the activist, and how noble they are, and how they really understand things the way other people don't. And these pranks they're posing all over the world, they don't make any difference. And even if they really cared about, human relations, that they were trying to persuade people, this stuff doesn't persuade people. Not of anything but the fact that you are a pain in the bum, and you think very well of yourself, and you have no respect for culture when you throw paint at beautiful paintings. I mean, it's just it's all about them, right? It's not about the issue, and they love being in the center of attention. So it's really calling attention to themselves and not to the perils of climate change.
Lionel Shriver is a best-selling author of many novels, including most recently Mania, a novel. Pick it up. You can check out the piece we've been referencing at thespectator.com, The Case Against a Climate Emergency, quote unquote. Lionel Shriver, thanks for joining us as always. Appreciate it.
Really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you. And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. If you own a timeshare, don't miss this public service announcement from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. If you really want out of your timeshare, hang the phone up immediately or throw that mail piece in the trash and contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance with your timeshare. As the only Inc. 500 timeshare cancellation company, our knowledge, experience, and results has made Wesley a trusted resource for over 40,000 families we've helped get out of their timeshare. Give us a call, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about your timeshare and all of your options for cancellation.
Call for your free info kit, 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Guys, it's New Year and time to keep that promise of getting your testosterone levels checked. Don't put it off. Get tested in January. If you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back right there. Low T Center, not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each patient. The personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. These aren't just basic standard treatments. For current patients, Low T Center offers you a $150 referral credit for each new patient you refer. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to your best. Visit lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. Again, that's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Family life is a crazy adventure filled with love and laughter, but it can also be demanding with work schedules, after-school activities, and trying to remember where you put your keys. it leaves you wondering, where does the time go? With so much going on, it can be easy to lose sight of your family's well-being. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements offer an easy way to get a wide variety of whole food ingredients for your whole family. Don't let a busy schedule get in the way of your family's well-being. Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Time now for another reason why Dan Proft is single.
Move in, ladies. Dan's going to tell you why he's single. I want to know.
The tech firm Realbotix unveiled a new life-size AI robot girlfriend at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas.
Did you see it? I mean, not bad, huh? I've seen some robots in my time, but this one's not. If it's the same one we're talking about.
Well, I'd like you to meet Aria.
This is Aria. So this is our flagship humanoid AI-powered robot. She's highly realistic. She has her own social media, so she might be competing with you one day.
Can you replace humans for jobs?
I'm excited to be here at
Darling, I'm more about enhancing human experiences rather than taking jobs. Think of me as your entertaining plus one.
She's not meant to replace humans, just be your...
It's pretty incredible.
She can drive around, full body, 175,000.
Moving
Let me know
base.
if you have any questions.
She's not walking, but she can move.
She can drive around, yep, on a Roomba base. She has LED lights to convey more emotion. Red means angry or green.
Yeah.
So trying to integrate a little
So you
more.
got reception.
She's not there to work. She's there to enhance life. I don't know about having. Anyway, the price is $175,000.
Oh.
And as you may have heard, it was a little difficult to hear, but Aria, the humanoid AI robot girlfriend, can express emotion and talk to you.
Do you really want that feature? You turn off that function?
Well, there's some bugs. The CEO of Realbotix, he's trying to make robots that are indistinguishable from humans by incorporating advanced motor technology. Another AI robot girlfriend named Melody enhances movement fluidity, modularity, and interaction, making her a versatile option for a variety of applications. Well, there's a lot of euphemisms in that, isn't there?
I mean, these things look so real.
Melody was created with the intention of having robots that are easy to travel with and modify for various forms of personal interaction. Again, more euphemisms.
Personal forms of interaction. What could that mean, Dan?
So on the question of how does this relate to why Dan Proft is single, the answer is I'm waiting for the price to come down.
And you have your choice. You can choose a brunette or a blonde or a redhead. All right. Thanks so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to Quinn McCarthy, our executive producer, and Justin, our technical producer. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Sunny out there, but it is cold. A wind chill of -3. Yikes. Now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott. Good morning, Mike.
Mike Madigan ends his testimony in his racketeering trial. The U.S. Supreme